fun.
Because
Really?
Because
We're live?
Really, go.
Like
Because you never got any sponsors. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Now we're live. We're dropping F-bombs. It's the last day and we ate quiche. Hey, everybody, all 4 of you that are on here, thanks for joining us. 12. You can tell it's a party. We have monsters. We have quiche. We have Eric hiding in the background. And Shane, can they see you somehow?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I'm right here.
There's the guy that always talks in the corner. So first and foremost, thank you for joining us. For those of you that took the day off and for those of you that have us minimized on your screen, working really hard at work right now. So whose volume's that? Mine?
Who's
Feedback. There we go.
Yeah.
Simon's here.
That's my signature move.
I can't get mine to work.
Mike McAmeel's here. Simon's here. Originally, if everybody doesn't remember Simon, I don't know if he'll pop up on the screen later. There's Shane in the corner.
There he is.
And smart guy Eric's in the corner trying to learn how to possibly help us continue this in the future whenever he's done having babies and 4 jobs. So,
Like the most of you
Babies, that's
guys.
good.
welcome everybody. Ready for a long show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
All
do
right.
it.
You ready for You ready for me to follow along and do this properly?
If that happens, I might fall out of my chair.
Okay. We'll get the business done and then we'll have fun.
All right.
So again, thanks everybody, and here we go. We're going to get into like real subjects, and then we'll talk about the last 2, whatever that was, 2.5 years. Show number 34.
All right.
Signing off with 34. We just didn't make it to 35.
I know.
Damn.
That much closer.
Simon, you've been a busy guy, so we'll talk about what you're doing. But thanks for bringing quiche, which
You're
we'll tell
welcome.
everybody. I blew my diet today with quiche, and it was worth it. It was worth it.
You got to do that, though, man, for
Yes.
mental stability.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Once in a while. I just got to start over now. So
Don't think of it
I'm
as
gonna
starting
gain
over.
all-
Think of it as a speed bump.
it is just a little speed bump. The kind that makes you lose your grip
You're
on
on
the
your
handlebars.
huffy with the
Yeah.
the banana seed and
Yep.
the little flag, and you just went over the plywood
Did you
ramp you
see
made
me?
with your little brother. And
Yeah.
oh, there you made it.
Good
All right.
memory.
No, I
Yeah.
actually, I just endoed over the front and smashed my face in the concrete.
And your mom's taking you to the
Endoed.
dentist.
But I'm still in.
Endowed.
Let's see. Eric says media is with us. Look, so is Julie at the store working hard. Thank you, Julie, for allowing me to be here. And John Gibson /Eeyore. Subjects, gun training paradox. What's it mean, man?
What's it mean? So there was an article that I
From Aaron? Was it Aaron?
No.
Fundamental defense?
Yeah. So sorry, I had the wrong article. See, we haven't done this.
Yeah.
in about a month.
You told me. I'm following along.
So the paradox,
Yeah,
right? Who
yeah.
are we teaching to?
Well, there's who I want to teach to, and then there's sometimes who shows up. I read the article, and I agree with absolutely 100% everything he said. I'm just going to say that CVO is the store that we really do get the new people we're kind of going
No,
for.
I think so. The article, in a nutshell, Aaron Isreal, who is an associate of ours, somebody that we talk to and get feedback from, and he's down in Texas, teaches the same curriculum we do.
We don't teach curriculums.
We don't teach curriculums.
Teach students.
We teach students.
All right, but go.
Man. So
You use curriculums.
we
Yes.
use
There you go.
curriculums
Yes. And quiche.
and quiche.
It's a
This is gonna be a bad. I need to have
the
no
roar. Yeah. Drink
All right.
more Monster.
Anyway, focus, Mac.
Do we want
All right.
new people that want to learn how to save their
So
life?
who are we teaching? Right? Are we teaching hobbyists?
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes
or are
they
we
show up.
teaching people that need to use skills for self-defense? And who are we targeting as an industry? And who's showing up to these classes that we're teaching?
So when you say we, let's remind everybody it's about the training industry, not just
yeah.
about
So
Mike
I'm saying we as the collective, like, hey, this is the big group of everybody that teaches firearms instruction
Sure.
in the United States, I guess.
and there is a lot of cool guy fantasy camp stuff.
Yeah. And not even that, though. How many people that are teaching self-defense and realistically are given an honest effort, like their program of instruction and their intent is to teach self-defense skills, but they're kind of turning into, hobbyists.
It happens.
So we get sucked into, hitting all these drills with timers and accuracy and all that, which is beneficial, but then you start going down the rabbit hole, right?
Well, yeah. And you have a link to the story up there, right, Shane?
Yeah.
Somewhere. So they can go read it to find out the summary of it is, first of all, something that you've stated, I've stated, Rob Pincus states, anybody that's honest states it is, hey, by the way, most civilians that saved their life with a firearm had no training or very little training.
None.
Yep. No or very little. And the skill set needed to save your life wasn't that great.
What do we always say when we say, like, if I had 5 seconds to teach somebody how to save their
Yeah.
life with a handgun? What do you teach them?
Yeah, extend touch press.
Point it at somebody and pull the trigger. That's
Yep.
all you really need to know. The
Yeah.
rest of it is refining techniques,
Sure.
right?
So, but I did like his, like I said, is to be honest with people, it's like, hey, most of the time, just like when everybody's scared about going to court, most self-defense shootings don't go to court. That's a fact. Most self-defense shootings were accomplished by somebody that had little or zero training, and they get the job done. So some people then go, therefore, I don't need to train for it.
Well, right. Well, I was just going to throw that, be devil's advocate.
Sure.
So why are people going to classes? Why do you need to train then?
Because if you're going to enter in that greater than zero risk chance of dying, why not have just a little bit of
better chance, right?
Sure.
A little bit better chance.
Yep. And I think your training would probably be centered a lot around safety.
Yeah, well,
because I'm scared of guns, and you know that about
Sure.
me. That scares me. I would want to go so I can learn how to handle it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I'm in that 5-second rule, at least I have some general understanding about what I have in my hands.
Dude, if you can make quiche, you can run a gun. You can do it.
No, but he's right though. I mean, we talked about this on the last episode with Rob Pincus, and I used the word inoculation. I think he used a different word, but a lot of realistic self-defense training should really be about getting you used to processing the information and reacting to the situation, not just how to use your gun.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you deal with that fear, right? You learn how to maybe not lose the fear, but overcome the fear, right?
Right. Well, and I would say Lou Dobbs, that's not his name. Sorry. Officer Dobbs for
Tom Dobbs.
Tom Dobbs, sorry. Mm-hmm. Great guy for Linmar Schools, kind of our outreach cop. We have to do Alice training now.
Sure.
But Lou Dobbs is a great guy too. But
Lou Dobbs is awesome.
Yes, but I do like Tom Dobbs.
Yeah, Tom's a great guy. And so I hated Alice drills. I just absolutely hated them because they put you through 3 different scenarios, right?
And it makes you feel very vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. Yeah. But once he started talking about, you're never gonna. Hopefully, you never have to do this. But if it does happen, you've been, for lack of a better word, desensitized to the stress of what's taking place. And so once he started talking that way, then I was like, okay. So what you're doing is you're helping me overcome almost like my natural fight or flight reactions. And so if you're going to help me get past that, and that can save my life or help me save somebody else's, okay, I'll go through the stress of the training.
So I mean, that's the big point of a lot of our training, is that getting used to scenario, so it's not the first time you've seen it, so you can get over that initial gap, the reactionary gap of, oh my God, what am I going to do? You shorten that up as much as possible, and then you're like, oh, I've at least talked about this before, so now this is what I'm going to do.
Right. And I want to have better control of my reactions. I remember when, like I said, I've known him for almost 30 years now, but there was one night when I was standing in the hallway at the house we were sharing together, and I thought he was at work doing overnight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, it's the bald guy. Yeah. And I'm in the closet looking at some videos to watch that night. It's late.
Wait,
I hear
all the best videos are kept in the closet.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Right. Okay, they're good.
Right. So I can sense somebody coming down the stairs and coming around the corner, and my brain is already going to. I could feel my body tensing and my arm coming backwards, and I'm still looking at videos. And he was not at work. He was sleeping upstairs and was coming down to say hi.
Yeah.
And that's what I always go to when if something were to hit the fan. I want to have some idea of what's happening to my body physically before instead of me realizing my body's doing things without me even controlling it, I'd like to have some idea of what's happening internally.
And that would be the point of like realistic training versus what the articles point out is hobbyists, right? Mm. So being a hobbyist is awesome, but if you're going to a class to learn how to shoot the eyes out of a gnat, that's probably not realistic for most people, right?
Gnats have a lot of eyes.
They do.
Well, don't you think that there are, in broad categories, 2 categories of gun owners? There's the people who have guns who want to be actively the best they can be with that gun, and then they're like technically. Like, I want to go to the range, and I want to see how good I can be at this sport. Yep. Whether it's shooting baskets or whatever, people are going to go to the range and think, I just want to get these rounds in that circle, and how many can I get in there? And they become obsessed with that, and that's the reason that they have
That's a category.
That's a category. And then there's the other category of people who are like, how can I effectively use this tool and use it responsibly?
So the problem is, and this is the big conundrum, right? This is where some of the arguments come in, and this is where honestly some of the divide comes in. everybody's trying to get to the same place. Everybody that's serious about defending themselves with a firearm just wants to survive the fight if they get into it. But as let's say you take a class, you're going to, like, I can do this, and this is the standard. I feel like I can do better. I feel like I need to do better. So we talk about plausible, probable, and all those things. So you take care of all those plausible skills, and you're really good at them. Now you start training the probable skills. Now we're doing low light, out of a car. But that's where people start kind of, like, you can get down this slippery slope where, like, well, is it probable I have to make a 50-yard shot on a 7-inch area? Sure, probable. But then we spend our time trying to get good at that, and you kind of get off track, but you're really trying to just get better. So you can't argue with that.
Right.
You know, so you can't argue, but it's just the method to the madness, I guess. People kind of get off track, and then before you know it, we've got timers and convoluted stations, and now it's a sport.
Right, but the sport evolved, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the sport evolved because you're trying to introduce an artificial stress. You're trying to introduce an artificial stress, a stress that gets your body going in such a way that you start to get tunnel vision, that your hearing starts to close down, that your fine motor skills maybe will be impeded.
Yep. And that's why that stuff's valuable, right?
Right.
To kind of simulate that. But if you're never going to do that, I guess the point of his article is if you're never going to do that, you should stick to being more realistic and not worry so much about being as accurate, I guess, or whatever.
The other point of that article was, don't come to my class 10 times a year. I mean, the point of that article is you can go to a one-day class and get the lesson plan that you should go home and practice. And if you actually practice that stuff, you're probably good enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's another argument. People will say you're never good enough. So the people that poo-poo the, like, hey, you're good enough crowd, you know, that's one side. That's the two camps, right? There's the good enough crowd, and then there's the I need to be able to shoot the eyes out of a gnat crowd. And they both want the same thing. There's just some conflict over how you get there.
Yeah.
And if somebody's a really, really awesome target shooter, but they've never taken medical class, you're kind of going at it wrong. Or if you're a fat dude like me, you got to lose weight. Like, there's more to the picture.
You're doing awesome, by the way, man.
Yeah, look at that quiche.
Yeah, the quiche. Oh, I blew it today.
Look at that.
What? You can't tell on camera I've lost weight.
Just Vogue just a little bit.
I actually had to expand your camera view.
Oh yeah.
Because
if you can do that, I want you to point it. Never mind.
Your face looks lean.
Oh, my face is skinny.
Yeah.
That's where I lost weight first.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But his whole thing was, you know, and we tell people all the time, and I like that he said piano lessons, because I'd say that a lot of people probably said that, but I always say to people, I'm going to give you your piano lesson. Go home and do it. Like, don't come back here every week and come to the same class again. Come back maybe twice a year if you want to evaluate. Like, hey, I did this last time I was in here, or how many times you have students through the multiple times through the same class that say, I totally learned this different stuff today because I wasn't over here worried about what this meant, and so they say, you know, no two classes are the same. But I always tell everybody I'm a bad salesman. You know, if you had all the money in the world and you wanted to come to every one of your classes and my classes and all that, that is what makes you a hobbyist. You know, literally.
And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I've been trying to expand out and to get out of our realm, right?
Sure.
And go to some different instructors. I went to a class in Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. Chris Fry put it on, practical pistol, and next day I did a shotgun class with him. His class was definitely about precision. And I learned that I kind of suck, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something to work on, right? So you have to be accurate, but target dictates the need for precision, right?
Sure.
So how accurate do you need to be realistically? Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if there's a right answer to this.
Oh, look at this. This guy chimed in, Eric Sismedia. He said, how often should you dry fire practice? What do you think?
As often as you can, I guess. I mean, depends
Are
on what you're
you
working
a
on.
big believer in dry firing?
I don't think it's bad. I will tell you, I don't do a lot of it myself. Maybe that's why I suck.
Help the layman. Let's dry fire me.
Okay, so like, you know, pretending you're shooting a gun when you're not really shooting your gun. So literally, like, we would lecture people, if you're going to dry fire things, if you're going to go simulate using this gun, then go be in a safe place in your house. No live ammunition ever allowed in there. You know, basically they're manipulating the trigger on the gun to learn how to pull the trigger.
So you can learn isolated skills that way. So for instance, in my particular instance, the reason I say I sucked at that class was my trigger press is not very consistent. So I'm dumping my rounds off target. You can fix that to some degree by practicing the mechanical skill, right?
Okay.
But you can't replicate live fire because you don't have the recoil and getting back on target and all that stuff. So to some extent, it's kind of artificial, but you can definitely work on the skills.
Like working on the mechanics of something.
Yes.
And then, okay. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Sure.
And is there such a thing? Is it that important that you catch the sear? Is it?
Are you trying to shoot off trigger reset?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Right. So there you go back to the hobbies thing, right?
Yeah.
Because
Hobbies.
anybody really going to do that when you're
Right.
like
when you actually need to shoot the
Like-
gun?
Simon grabs a firearm. He's never shot one before, but there's one there, and he's like, well, I'm using the sucker. Is he going to worry about the trigger reset? No, he doesn't even know what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just going to squeeze the trigger as fast as he can. And that's kind of where the self-defense instruction should start from, I think.
It almost makes you think that you almost need to advertise for two different things. Hey, if you just want to get the basics down and you want to understand this, right?
Yeah.
Just the basics of handle something, and then a whole nother set is. I mean, do you have classes that are basic and then it's advanced, and you just keep moving on? And do those relate with the hobbyist kind of thing you're talking about?
Well, we have basic classes. Like Julie at work said, hey, you got to quit teaching 5-hour classes and 8-hour classes and make this little baby step over here and charge $40 and make it 2 hours and make it for like somebody that says, oh my God, what's that plastic thing in that box? And I said, nobody wants that. And then we sold them all out. So she was right. But the difference is we don't start and say, we're going to teach you this, and then next time you're going to get some better stuff, and next time you're going to get the better stuff. In 5 classes, you're going to have the really good stuff. We go backwards, like Mike said. You come to me and say, hey, I got to travel outside the country for a year. I have to leave my wife and kids here, and she has a crazy ex, and I have a firearm, and I want her to have some training. But, oh, by the way, you have 10 minutes to show her. I'm going to focus on, like, what is the most likely thing? Like, hey, here's how to pick up the gun. Here's how to load it. Here's how to overhand rack it. Here's how to go to full extension so the gun's reliable. Here's how to get the gun in and parallel with your line of sight. And learn to shoot it staring at the target, because that's what you're going to do when the guy's in your kitchen trying to kill you. And we'll do all that in 5 minutes. Now, we don't replace that later with better stuff. That's the most important stuff. But like Mike said, then you go start working on the fundamentals in different circumstances, you know. So, and a lot of people would tell you that. The only difference, you know, like an expert at something is somebody who can simply do the fundamentals all the time, under pressure, you know, upon request, with no anticipation, different circumstances. Just being able to do the fundamentals all the time. Like, talk to somebody who's like way into football or something. It's like, what is it? Fundamentals. Do the fundamentals every time. Do your job every time. So same thing with, but part of this, see, and I keep leaking this in my mind, Mike, this goes into the other article you have later too, is, you know, because the whole drink from the fire hose thing, which you're going to get to later. But you're right, Simon. We found that a lot of people that take the 2 hour, like, hey, here's literally how to pick up a gun. Here's how to load it. Here's how to shoot it safely. Let's just do that for 2 hours. They come back and get more stuff. So as a business stuff, why wouldn't I, right? And it's not about the money, but the point is like they actually want to. They want to spend money. They want more learning. So, hey, I should listen to it. And I should have listened to my employees a long time ago when they said do that.
And what is the class called that you have, that 2 hour class where it's just...
That is literally just called basic handgun. Yep. You're going to come do it.
You have said that to me for
like
2 or 3 years at this point.
Yeah, and then that guy...
he was like, I'll give you everything free.
Yes.
The gun, the bullets, everything.
Yep.
And I go, thank you, Ernie. Sorry, man. I'm just going to bail on you.
Here,
so I've done a terrible job of following through with that.
We have...
I'm being honest.
Accountable.
I'm being honest.
I like it. I like it. I'm going to
offer to bring us out and go hunting on your property. We haven't done that.
I still want to do that.
Randy.
I still want to do that.
Yeah. And in the time that I offered to do all that, we lost that property. It sold.
You sold it?
No, not I sold it. It belonged to someone else. I was just in charge of it, but they sold it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And they live in a super fancy.
Yeah, you snooze, you lose.
But
Sorry.
trust me, if you actually end up wanting to go hunting, I have plenty of places to take you hunting.
Okay, well, I did it one time last year. I'll tell you that. I have a friend who's a DNR guy up in Benton County. And he goes, hey, you have property out in outside Stone City. And I go, yeah. He goes, let's just go out there and let's go hunt. I was like, what's that entail? And he goes, I'll just bring my gun and we'll go out together. Because I didn't have a tag, so I couldn't have a gun, I guess. Yeah. Didn't know that.
So you're going on a hike?
I brought my son's gun, and I didn't know that I could not have it. So there's lesson number one. But no, we went out and sat on a log for 4 hours.
Were you turkey hunting?
No, it was deer.
Deer? Oh.
And so it was awesome. It was. I had a great time, and I started. And I was like, moving my feet around, and he was going, "Hey, listen, you cannot move." I'm like, "You want me to be dead still on this log?"
No.
He goes, "Yeah, you have to be very quiet." And I was like, "All right."
Okay.
So I did my best job of being as stealthy as I could be, and I'm fucking loud, and I have ADHD, and I can barely sit still.
Squirrel, like literally, there's squirrels.
No, we're not hunting squirrels.
I want to talk to them. Ask any like real deer hunter that have hunted deer long enough. Like, have you? Most of them are like, and then I woke up. That's part of their story.
Yeah.
Like I was laying there still, and you're wearing enough clothes that you get warm, or maybe the sun slightly comes out and it goes from 0 degrees to 20, so you feel like it's warm. but it is funny because I've done it. There's been many a times you like wake up and you're like, wow, was I really asleep? Well, I was asleep. And you look forward and you're like, oh, there's like 10 deer right there because I've been asleep. And then you move, and then they run away.
So we got a lab puppy about 5 months ago.
We're way off track, and I like
this.
this.
You guys have probably
Sorry.
seen the
I've seen
pictures,
it.
right?
Hey,
No,
yes.
but this
Great segue.
it is a great segue. But I just because we're talking hunting stories.
Yes.
Right? So I'm
Okay.
taking her hunting.
Uh-huh.
I'm taking her hunting this fall.
Rabbit hunting or pheasant hunting?
Pheasant hunting.
All right.
So I'm
Let's
going
do
with
it.
a buddy of mine's got a couple dogs that are actually trained, and she's just going to go out and be crazy animal. But
Yeah.
it's wonderful because it gave me another avenue to exercise my online shopping addiction. Yesterday she got a tactical vest and an IFAC patch.
Yes. She does need
You
one.
got to exercise your online shopping.
It's bad.
Yes.
It's bad, man.
Yeah.
It's bad. She got a vest and an IFAC pouch, and she's gonna have her own little first aid kit in case she gets a boo boo. And yeah, it's gonna be cool.
He's totally going to have one of those dogs that's like Tacta-ready.
Yep, with the goggles.
Yeah.
An
You,
EMT
next to you,
an
you might as well
EMT's
buy a
dog.
motorcycle with a sidecar so you can have your dog right next
Yeah.
to it.
All right, are we done talking about that article?
All right. We're done with that. We'll move on.
All right.
So long
Read
story.
the article.
Read the article, and it has some very valid points, but I think CVO, you yourself, I'm going to say our little group, us, we do focus on wanting those people that are new that want the skills. We don't get many hobbyists that come to our classes. We truly don't.
No, we don't. Or if we do get them, honestly, I think their eyes are opened, or whatever the class whatever they thought the class was, they soon realize it's not that.
Yeah.
And I think they enjoy themselves.
Do they? Well,
Quite
they
a
do
bit.
push-ups during break.
That was an extreme case.
Okay.
Steve.
All right.
Why you got to bring that up? That's hurtful.
All right. Here we go. Number 2, because we're going to get this business stuff out of the way, and then we're going to Sparty.
All right.
All right. So your next one was the FBI report on active shooters.
Phase 2.
Phase two.
So the phase 1 report. Actually, there's 3.
Yeah.
I call them phase 1 reports. There's one that talked about 160 active shooter incidents between 2000 and 2013. Right. So they're going to.
Yep.
They're going to define those. I think they define them as more than 2 people injured or killed, and it was not a domestic or a robbery or something like that. So definitely targeted mass shooting. And then they had subsequent reports that came out for 2015, 2016, where there's 40 more, and 2016, 2017, where there's 50 more. So, but this phase 2 finding that they just published only dealt with the first one, so 2000 to 2013.
Yep. 13-year span.
And I just wanted to go over some of the key findings here because I thought they were pretty
Sure.
interesting.
77% of them prepared for a week or
Yeah,
more.
so that's the first one, right? These guys, 77%, that's a lot, right? It's more than 0.
Yeah.
Had I can do math.
Wow, this guy's good.
Yes, that's good.
I would definitely strap on a parachute that you packed and jump out of a plane because you told me.
That's right.
Because 77's bigger than 0. Right.
Wow.
How big a crater am I going to make when I hit the ground?
Wow.
I don't know, Ernie, but it's going to be bigger than 0.
Trust me.
Yes.
Trust me. Just trust me.
I do trust you, Mike.
All right, man.
77% of them,
So-
they planned for more than a week. And, of
So-
course, some of them were far longer. But
You know that old see something, say something.
Yeah,
thing. So, but that just kind of lends legitimacy to that saying, even though it's cliche. I mean, if 77% of these guys planned for a week, somebody had to have seen something or known something. And we see that kind
not
of like,
always, but some of them.
yeah,
Like a guy going in and out of the MGM a bunch of times.
people saw. I would say in every case, somebody saw something.
Yeah, but what is it you see? You don't know.
I don't know.
Everybody, remember in the beginning, before all literally, that's the world we live in. Even when I say the gun world, we'll say the people who believe in having firearms and defending yourselves were like, where's the pictures? I don't believe this guy was alone. How do you get all that stuff in there? Remember all that shit about the Vegas shooting? And it's like, oh, there's your videos of him making 20 trips. Like you really think you're going to pay it to everybody in their minds like, well, the guy making 20 trips, that's weird. Do you pay attention to who's going by you with luggage in Vegas?
So
Nobody cares.
what's the what's the issue with that, right? That's the first issue that I found with that as living in a free society, 77% of these guys did something, and I'm sure 100% of people saw them doing that. Mm-hmm. But when do you start, ratting people out, right?
Yeah, it becomes a big brother issue.
Right,
because
exactly.
What if my wife and my kids send me to the car 20 times to get all the Susie forgot her doll, and so forgot their ball, and then all of a sudden I'm being talked to because somebody saw me going
you're
out
Alice
too much.
Kravitz from Bewitched, and you're spying out the windows.
Yeah, it's like like McCarthy era right now. This is actually what it feels like. It's like you can't act the way you want to act, and are you a part of that group? Nope, you're wrong. Oh, you're a part of that group? Well, I'm just going to watch. Mm-hmm. It's like you're tattling on people constantly, and there's some type of reward system for those people that want that drama.
You ever gone to Ace Hardware and bought bleach and a hammer and duct tape and a tarp and lime? I mean, literally. Hey, do people use all those things to get rid of bodies? But do other people buy them all the time?
I've heard that.
Sure. So you got to pull the teeth and shave the hair. Pigs don't eat the hair. So the point is,
that's the name of the show.
Yes. Pigs don't eat the hair.
Pigs don't eat the hair.
They don't eat teeth either.
I'm gonna make a note of
so
it.
Here's
a note.
That's got to be a meme.
Here's the point: is you could go buy all this stuff. Thousands of people a day go buy that stuff from a hardware store because they have things to do that involve that. Mm-hmm. But then you have a guy mixed in buying all that stuff that had evil intent that he's already done or gonna do, and like you said, it's not Minority Report. How are you gonna predict it? Which is part of your story coming up with this. Is how are you gonna predict it? You're not. You're not going to predict it.
So if 77% of them plan and we can't predict it, what's our best course of action?
Responding.
So be prepared, right?
Yeah, sure.
Be prepared.
Sure.
So
like medical class and stuff, or have a firearm to respond to it, or let's go back to medical skills always first. Another important part of that thing right away, 77 of them prepared for more than a week, and it said 46% spend a week or more procuring the goods to go do it. So most of them didn't buy a gun right away. Some of them did right before the event. Most of them, which that's another thing, 75% of them, what do I want to say? Yeah, 75% of them were bought the guns legally. So before everybody talks about, me included, the majority, so they got to listen carefully out there, all you haters, the majority of firearm violence in this country, the mass majority, huge double digits, like 75 to 85%, is illegally obtained or possessed firearms by people that can't have them, shouldn't have them, can't legally have them, and they go do bad things, right? Like look at Chicago shootings. But you can't ignore that the active shooter thing, it's the opposite. It's that more than 75% of them were all bought legally.
And is that a function of quote unquote lax firearms laws?
No, there's 22,000 firearms laws already on the books. Or is it the fact
that these people have never gotten in trouble because they've never been in the system?
They've never committed serious crimes. Like I think I went back and it said something like 26% or whatever more than things up there. So I'll be wrong, but it's a double-digit percentage had criminal records. So when people are like, a speeding ticket is a criminal record.
Right.
So what? Who hasn't a speeding ticket? So.
But then that goes back to Simon's point of the big brother, right? Just
sure.
Because people can change their life.
Yeah.
Just because you got.
How about the kid in Iowa or wherever he was? Is it in Iowa? How many of you saw the report, the story the other day of the kid that killed 3 of his pets with insulin?
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No,
Happened in the last. You didn't see it. Happened in the last 2 or 3 days. So you have a kid, 11 years old, kills the family pet. He might even be younger than that. Somebody will chime in and let us know. Usually it's Eric Sismedia, but he's right here. So this kid decides to kill 3 different family pets by injecting them with insulin, knowing exactly that it's not good for you. And even some of the responders were like, this was flat out like evil. Like this kid wanted to do it. Well, I'm not kidding. Like what's that show called? Mind Hunters or whatever. What was the about the serial killers? But truly go back. You teach active shooter class. The more and more you want to learn about the people that did it, go backwards and look at the things of how many of them hurt family pets, killed family pets, all that. You know it. I mean, it's like a large number. So you could say, hey, you want to talk about a precursor to your next school shooter? How about the kid that kills animals and enjoys it? You know what I mean? Or post videos of cutting rabbits' heads off or beating a cat to death with a bat or, so you come along and it's like, okay, how many people saw the guy kick the kitten through the field goal uprights? Like, not kidding. It's either a kitten or a puppy.
Go backwards.
Go back there and watch that. So
I think I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah,
hard no for me.
Yeah. like makes you mad, right?
Yeah.
I do believe it's actually a puppy. It's like, okay, he sets it up on a football field and kicks a puppy through the field goal, and they're looking for him. It was real news story. So is he the kind of guy that's going to be a tri-state killer? Probably not, actually. He's just an asshole. But when you see these kids that are like, oh, well, yeah, looking back, they got in trouble because they killed the neighbor's dog and they did this and they did that. It's not just I think it's called Mind Hunters, which is the make-believe. But it's actually based off real people. But, we can't predict. Everybody like school age, right? Look at how many of them. And again, if you read that whole report, you actually should, Mr. Teacher Guy, go back and say, oh, by the way, the people that interacted with the under 18-year-old killers, the people that actually had the chance to see the most change or talked about it were all, kids, like their schoolmates.
So it says here, when concerning behavior was observed by others, the most common response, 83%, was to communicate directly to the person.
Yeah, which doesn't really, I don't want to say it doesn't help because I don't want to turn that down, but go tell other people.
Right. And it's,
hey, Simon, you're really acting like a tri-state killer.
So 83% talk to the person, 54% do nothing.
Yes. Yep. Just how can you have those two numbers, Ricky Bobby?
Yeah. I don't know. I think they may be combining.
Yeah.
Two different groups.
Yep.
Like maybe they talked to the person and did nothing, and they're counting both. I don't know.
Yep.
Well, like what you were talking about.
Oh, Eric, he's doing so well. He's trying to help me. Eric says media. He's out there somewhere, people, in the internet worlds, the worlds of the internet. Is mental health an issue? Well, the FBI says less than 25% of the time it was. So, and then very few of the 25% that had any mental illness had like psychosis of any sort.
How can you say there's not a mental health piece of that? To me, that's just ridiculous. Even think that because
I agree with you.
If I decide that at some point humanity sucks so badly that I feel comfortable killing anyone or anything, then that to me is a mental health issue.
Right.
Period.
Even if at that one, and I totally agree with you. Even if 5 seconds of your life you decide it's okay to kill somebody, and then you do it, and then after that you're extremely regret. For 5 seconds you were mentally ill. I mean,
I'll give you that.
In a way, right? Mm-hmm. So I agree.
Because Shane and I were talking earlier about the gentleman that we'll talk to in the article that shot his gun off of the ground and killed that guy. We were talking about, so is our property worth the taking of another life because I'm losing my property? I'm going to say no. I mean, I wouldn't pull the firearm out to begin with because at least I know that much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say that I would just stay away and let the police take care of something because my stuff is not worth taking another life. Now, if I'm in a position where my family,
have you had?
0.
And you're that smart. Good job. Don't die over shit.
Yeah,
it's just stuff.
Well, and I think it might have been Jesse that was the one who somebody was breaking into his van and he kind of confronted them.
Well, no, they were in his Jeep.
Right. Yeah. And then when he was talking about that, the whole time going, yeah, get your stuff back. Yeah, do this. And then he was like, it was all ridiculous. It was all stupid. We should have walked away. And I was like, now that to me is a responsible, thoughtful way of doing something because I can get caught up in the moment of, hey, that's my shit. Don't.
Yeah, no, everybody. That's a very emotional issue. I mean, you guys want to just jump to that right now? We'll talk about. We already started.
We don't have. I mean,
no, it's good. We already started.
Well, the thing that I kind of go back and forth on is a couple shows ago we had wonderful young lady we were talking about suicide.
Foundation.
Emily Bloom from Foundation 2.
Right, but we were talking about how can we help these kids or adults the best, and it's like. You have to see something happening, and you have to invest your time and interact with them and engage them. And when we talk about what's the most important thing to do, well, is it run through scenarios so that I know how to react to a problem, or is it actually plug myself into my community and engage people who I might feel have an issue and actually care a little bit, like, hey man, are you all right? I've noticed these things about you. But what I see routinely is people getting frustrated with others' behaviors, and what our culture is starting to turn into, at least in the workplace, is I don't have the skills, I don't feel comfortable, I'm triggered, whatever, to have a conversation with you, Mike, that you're saying this, that, or the other thing that is bothering me because something's happening in my life. So I'm not going to talk to you directly and have an adult conversation. I'm just going to go to HR.
Mm-hmm.
And then HR gets involved and everything kind of blows up. Instead of,
Well, you go to HR, then they have to do something.
well, they have to do something, but could you have handled it? Like it seems like we're losing that skill of communication. And
No.
I don't want to get off topic too much, but I
so.
mean, this kind of falls back into what's the most important thing. Is the most important thing training? I'm sure there's still going to be people that, we're not going to be able to catch, that people are going to be isolated in their homes, bullied, whatever, and they're going to turn into a monster, or they're going to snap, that temporary insanity type thing. It's going to happen. So we need to know how to respond to it. But I don't think we put enough emphasis on what happened before that. We're dealing with symptoms. How can we address the issues? I just don't think that we work on that enough. I don't think there's enough training on that.
Training for the general public or training for
professionals? The entire world.
No, just the general public. I know that for myself, there was a individual who worked at one time with me, and the mass majority of people who worked with him, because he worked at this place way before me, had jokingly told stories about, oh yeah, he practices his dry fires in his attic looking at the playground. That's what he said. Now, did I get that straight from his mouth? No. And I won't say his name.
Yeah.
But it did trigger me to say, at what point does something happen and we all say, oh, we should have seen the signs. Why didn't somebody say something? Isn't that a sign? Isn't that a sign of something? Did you really do that? But we're not comfortable enough. We're not comfortable enough with easy conversations, like when I told Ernie I loved him.
I do love you too. We did that.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it.
But we
and I eat quiche, so you can say what you want about Real Man.
But we have a hard time with that stuff, let alone, hey man, are you sure you're all right? Were you joking about the attic thing? Because that's not funny.
So, I mean, that's the problem though, right? We go talk to the guy. Maybe we do have the intestinal fortitude to go talk to the guy.
Right.
But then we don't want to tell on him when he doesn't cease that behavior, or we hear more things that are even like really shady. Like, what do I do now? Because we're really hesitant because we don't want, the culture in the United States is not to be a rat. Nobody wants to be a rat.
Right.
I would hope though that, knowing him as long as I've known him, if all of a sudden he started making comments that made me go, something is up and something is off, I would go to his wife. I might go to him directly and say, what's happening? Because something is off, and I'm starting to get a little worried about him. So I'm not sure. I get what you're saying about the idea that you don't want to be a rat and things like that. But at some point, my care for somebody else is going to be like, well, I care about you, so I'm going to step in and say, hey, what's going on? We're hitting a whole other level of shame that I'm not familiar with. And so,
but you're still going to him or his loved ones. You're not going to, quote unquote authorities, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's where the disconnect is, and that's where the people are like, I think, and that this report kind of emphasizes that they're hesitant to cross that line.
Right.
To officially report that somebody's having issues.
Yeah.
And these guys are slipping through the cracks.
Yeah.
Because I think all you have to do is ask and say, hey, dude, you're talking about pointing at a playground. That's not cool. It could be an offhand comment.
Sure.
And you could at least find an answer.
A terrible joke.
Epstein has a question. Epstein?
Oh, sorry.
So since Shane brought it up, I just wanted to grab there. I found it fast. So here's a point that I make in several of my classes. This is 2014 expanded FBI data. And when somebody's like, why don't you use the newest one? They don't always give you the expanded charts on the most recent 16 and 17. So let's just use 1 year. So in 2014, 40.4% of all murder victims were killed during an argument. So, people are like, well, duh. No, the point is as a society anymore, people don't do well at having hard conversations without turning into something bad. Or,
quickly, yeah.
Whether it's, hey, I'm going to shut down mentally and physically and go become the school shooter kid that hates everybody, or whether it's going to be, hey, Simon just cared about you enough to say, hey, this is a whole different level of Shane, what's going on? And then it turns into an argument instead of you sitting there and saying, you know what, he's saying this because he actually cares about me. He's wrong and he's perceiving it wrong, but hey, I'm not going to be a dick because he's doing it because he cares about me. that's gone in general, I think.
Right.
What we call the general decay of morals in the world anymore, and people's ability to interact with other humans without falling apart when their slightest feelings are hurt. How's that for an assessment?
Awesome. And I also don't think that you
totally.
can have anything like that when you're worried about somebody being triggered.
Yeah.
If you're concerned, if that's one of your biggest priorities, not triggering somebody or a group of people when you're having a conversation, you see something wrong, how could you possibly have an adult
fucking
conversation?
cannot stand that word anymore.
You dropped the F-bomb. I love it. I don't like snowflake. We're going to get rid of snowflake and let's get rid of trigger.
I hate snowflake too, but I'm just saying that I don't like I see a therapist on a weekly basis. And when I talk about things that trigger me, it's deep-seated concerns or some things that I'm not necessarily aware of yet because it happened a long time ago. And all of a sudden, I start realizing that somebody doing something or something happening is triggering an old emotion in me that I want to change and be better at or become more aware of. It's not somebody calling me a snowflake, which I've been called lots of times.
By me.
By him. And not just you.
And you are, but you're the
again,
good kind.
I'm a good snowflake. I'm a good snowflake. Distilled water, hopefully. I don't like the idea that we have turned this term into something that really is a serious, psychological thing that something happened to you and you're triggered and it causes you to react a certain way. Instead of somebody going, "You are triggering me. Stop talking like that. You're triggering me.
You're upsetting me."
It's minimizing a word that really is valuable.
You're the most liberal person we've ever had on our show, either. I mean, you are. And and so what I'm saying is, even you're on board. It's back to where we all have a lot more in common than we think. Like we all want to have happy lives. We want our loved ones to be safe. We want, hey, you should be able to own a business and run it how you want as long as it's legal, and let's meet somewhere in the middle. But yeah. I mean, it's the same reason why I've openly said, hey, I'm just as sick of the gun world as everybody else. And then people are like, do you hear that guy say that? I'm not going to shop at his store. If your butt hurt because I said I'm sick of part of the gun world, then you're being ridiculous because over here you're messaging me saying, did you see what this ass clown put in this private book, this private Facebook thing that we belong to where gun owners will rip on each other left and right. And they'll cut each other's throats for $5. They're no different than any other big group of people, whether it's bicyclists or runners or whatever, right? So it's not just the gun world.
Well, and it also has to start. People have to start realizing that everybody's so intricate.
Sure.
So being on your show or producing your podcast in the past and being part of things, as the most liberal person on your podcast, I could totally probably say that's probably true.
Oh, it is.
It's changed my viewpoints on things. It shows you that everybody is diverse. You cannot just slap everybody into a tribe. You cannot slap everybody into a box.
Yep.
Everybody has different aspects of themselves. And I always said that even when I first met you, and you were questioning me and challenging me with how we produce podcasts or what we do and what you could do on your own and save yourself money.
Yeah.
I was like, well, those are good questions. And yeah, that's legit. And how can I sell us better? What can I do to show you that we can do something for you that you can't do for yourself?
Yeah.
But again, you changed my view on the gun
we were
world
at Mr.
as a gun.
Beans.
Yes.
Well, I can't remember
Mr.
what
Beans.
you asked me once at Mr. Beans that I was like, what's your take on this or what's your point? I can't even remember the conversation, but
it was pretty liberal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably, from my point of view, it was probably like we should probably think this way or do this way.
Yeah.
And I can't say that those viewpoints have changed necessarily inside of me. They probably
Nor
have.
should they.
But you
Nor
have
should
changed my perspective on gun ownership, gun owners, gun shop owners.
Yeah.
That it's not about, because I mean, when you started right away talking about the safety and the medical stuff right away, I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be a gun show. What's all this about? I thought it was about AR-15s and all this other shit.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about what can we do to be responsible gun owners. And once I started hearing that, it shifted my perspective because I was already in the idea of I'm in my tribe and you're the gun owner, NRA people. And what the fuck? I'm not going to be part of this. So that's twice.
I love
it.
Do you want to step in and say fuck right now and get it over with? Yeah, all right.
Sorry.
Fuck, Shane. Oh, you chicken shit.
Anyways, one of the reasons why I felt really good about being on when you asked me to be on here, because I thought it's going to give me an opportunity to say you have changed one liberal tree hugger perspective about gun ownership and the gun world in general.
Yeah.
And so
that's good. And the thing is we don't how do I want to say, believe it or not, that wasn't our goal. I mean, that's the good thing is. And it wasn't our goal from the point of view unless it made your life better. Like if you'll consider, hey, don't just own a gun safe to lock up your guns. Lock up your prescription drugs, lock up your alcohol. If you have a teenage boy who's heartbroken from his, loss of his girlfriend in high school. So I think it's cool that you came on and said that. That was like a perfect sales pitch. But it was never our goal to change you in any way, but I'm glad we did. And on the same thing, there's still people in the gun world that you wouldn't like because they really are that whatever. The stereotypical, I'm going to pound my chest, you'll have my guns when you kill me for them kind of thing. That's like, I don't need that. There's way, way, way crazy people in every group.
They say that, but they can't run 100 yards.
Hey, I'm working on it. I can run 100 yards
now. See?
You dangle some Tommaso's double smoke wings in front of me.
Yeah.
I can run 100 yards.
It just helped change my perspective, and it turned you from being a gun shop owner to being Ernie Trow, who is a person who's making a living, has lots of different views and perspectives about things.
I wouldn't say making a living. Let's erase that part. Yeah, I am a person, though, and I do, too, have feelings, and I declare my love for Shane openly.
So
it's legal in Iowa.
To circle back, because Shane said something I want to talk about before we move on.
He said fuck a little bit
ago.
He
did. We
quietly.
all did. So we've all got that out of the way.
I mean, I want to rest assured that we can put CVO Gun Talk to bed with no chance of sponsors.
That's right.
Let's do it.
Not that there ever was.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there, too.
So I talked about nobody wants to be a rat, but you said something that's pretty interesting so how much of this not reporting things is a function of I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings? And I don't want to offend people, and I don't want to look like, I'm a white guy, middle-aged white guy, and that guy's Hispanic. I don't want to look racist.
You are racist, and you have a white beard.
I know I do.
Yeah.
If somebody called me and said, I got a phone call from somebody that said, hey, this is DHS. It's been reported that your kid came to school with a bruised eye, and we need to do some investigating in you. And I'd be like, I got nothing to hide. Okay, go do what you have to do to make sure that you feel like my kid's safe and things are okay. If I don't have anything to hide, then I don't have to worry about it. Now, the whole Big Brother thing can have a whole other effect about us going after people. But if I have nothing to hide, then, if you're looking out for the safety of my child, okay, go for it.
So let's talk about that for a minute, right? It's the Big Brother thing. So I actually had that experience. So let me tell you the story. We were living in an apartment building in Germany with handles that the kind of handles that don't turn, but they go up and down, and there's a space. So my wife's coming out of our apartment. She closes the door. She gets her coat hooked on the door, and she goes like this. It comes off, and she smacked my daughter, who's now 26, in the mouth. At the time, she was in second grade. Smacked her in the mouth. She got a little bloody lip. Hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. So they go to school. Teacher goes, hey, what happened to your lip? My mom hit me.
Mm-hmm. Factually
whole
true.
DHS situation
in Germany.
It was very, very invasive. My son, who was 15 at the time, was mortified because he had to go get a physical to make sure we weren't beating him. It was very, very invasive, and I was pissed. Right?
Right. How dare you?
So if that ever happens to me again, I'm gonna be like, you're not touching. Get away from me. Get a warrant. Whatever. Right? So
you believe in
I guess in counterpoint to your statement, I would be one of those people that are like, no, you're not doing anything unless you get a judge, because no. Ultimately, of course, it was unfounded and all that, but I mean, it's for the protection of the kids. However, there was no due process on my part. I was guilty. Like, it was bad for like 2 weeks. People were looking at me like, you child beater. I'm like, really? Really?
Can I take a look around in your car, Mike?
No.
You mean you can say no?
Yeah, I can.
I love you. All right. I love Shane, too. Love all you guys. All right. Let's see. Anybody ask any other questions that we haven't answered yet? Okay. Chris Sparks, who used to live here, now he lives out in, I believe, Oregon or Washington or somewhere out there. He might still be listening. 20 people. Christ, we're busy now. Can the stigma associated with the see something, say something with your employer, kind of like what you guys were talking about. So leadership in a business must be willing to accept these warnings from those who bring them to their attention.
Well, that's what I said about HR, right? When I used to be in management in the security industry, on pain of losing my job, there are certain categories of things that if any complaint were made, you had to invest. Sexual harassment, weapons, I mean, if I didn't do, I'm like, that guy's fine. It's bullshit. Like, I'd lose my job, right? So they have to do something.
Sure.
As it should be.
Yeah.
So, it's a thing.
Simon and I were talking about a story that has happened recently, and I don't know how many people know of Louder with Crowder.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I agree with quite a few of the things that he talks about, but he has one show that says "Changed My Mind" on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I love
And
it.
so he had
Makes for some of the best memes ever.
yeah, on one of his episodes, it was like transgender something changed my mind. So he opens it up to the public to somebody to come, and it's out in public. It's just at a table, fold out table. Well, anyway, while this conversation was happening on social media, another transgendered individual started messaging the community saying, "This is the location. Go firebomb the car. This is his location. Go slash his tires." Okay. So later on, Steven Crowder finds those social media posts calling for violence against him for having a conversation. He wasn't acting. He wasn't being physical or whatever. He was just having a conversation with this person about the issue. So he goes to address the individual who made the threats and calling for violence against the person. He goes to their place of work. Okay. He has this big billboard in his hand. He's got a camera crew and he's got a microphone. He walks behind the counter and he goes, "Hey, I just wanted to, do you remember me? I'm Steven Crowder. I was the guy that you were telling everybody to firebomb and slash his tires. Do you admit that you did these things?" And the person at first says no, and then they say yes, that they did it. And he goes, "I won't press any charges because this is illegal. I'm just telling you right now, I won't press any charges if you remove those posts." And the person goes, "Nope, I'm not going to remove the posts." He goes, "All right." And I don't agree with the fact that he walked into a place of business. Now he's punishing the business owner.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he's talking to an employee. Mm-hmm. But what I took away from this that was really interesting, there was nothing but sympathy and comfort and a sense of we have to protect this individual who's transgendered only because they belong to a group and they weren't dealt with like, hold on a second, I'm the owner. This person did what? He called for violence. He was telling people to firebomb. He was telling people to slash your tires. Maybe I should consider firing this person. Because, like Simon and I were talking about earlier, there's been huge stars, radio personalities who made a comment. The person, this basketball team, this individual had nappy hair. Boom, fired for saying nappy hair. It had nothing to do with act of violence. He just commented about nappy hair and he was fired. Career ender.
You don't talk about the Rutgers women team that way.
So you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But when we're talking about having a conversation with people about, hey, I don't know if
I think that's the difference between a famous radio personnel on ESPN or wherever and just some odd. And I agree, like there's two different sets of standards, but which one's okay? Are you allowed to say nappy hair? You have no hair. So, like, you're bald.
Yeah.
So it can't offend you?
I think that's part of that being an adult, hearing things that might be uncomfortable. Yep. Is somebody saying, "Hey, cue ball"? Mm-hmm. I actually have.
You laugh, don't you?
I actually have a boss that's like, "Hey, cue ball," like we go back to the old school '80s.
Sure. And he gives you like a noogie.
Hey, buddy, Kojak. Yeah. You know, yeah.
You know what else you could do in the '80s? Punch him in the throat, and it's okay. Yeah. I mean, like, hey, that hurt. Cool. So you have to work for a beer.
Yeah. So, or go out for a beer for lunch.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah.
2-beer limit.
Or drink bourbon while you do the podcast.
Who does that?
Who's drinking bourbon?
Not me.
Who sneaks in a shot of bourbon?
I should have peach tea and energy.
Why don't you at least?
It's called rehab.
Okay, there you go.
It's called rehab.
Can you at least hold the bottle up and tell people what it is?
It's Bullet, but it's in a child's cup.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you have bourbon called Bullet on CVO Gun Talk?
Oh shit, that's fucking perfect.
Wow.
That's 3 of 5.
Brilliant.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Now we got a sponsor.
The most
guns and alcohol. Bring it on.
The most liberal person here came up with the best
product
placement.
Yes, because he doesn't have a gun, so he gets to have alcohol.
There you go.
The rest of us are like, no, I'm out.
But you know what's funny is that, again, we had Josh Coburn, who's a good friend of ours, who's been on our podcast before too.
Used to be the Brownells dude.
He still is a Brownells dude, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think he's still a Brownells guy. Anyways, I remember the first day he came into our podcast, and he took his weapon out behind his, and I was just like, what in the hell? Because I am just not used to it. And I think that a part of it is cultural shifts where we just start getting. I don't want to say that we're getting used to having lots of guns, but
let me ask you another
like,
curveball. Why did he take his gun out?
He was going to sit down in a chair like this, and he thought it would be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then he took it out, and then he kind of did what you did, which was like, oh, I can't drink because I have a firearm on me. Yeah. And so, I mean, he's a very responsible guy, but I remember he taking it out because he was going to sit in these chairs for 3 hours. Our podcast was forever.
Don't pull loaded guns out of holsters.
No, it was in a holster. He had it in.
No, I know it was until he took it out. You mean? Did he take it off in the holster?
He took it off in the holster.
See, now that makes me happy.
Yes.
That makes me super happy.
He's super gun safety guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Shane, you need to take my 3 guns off me because I'm going to drink some bullet. Yeah. That's being responsible, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me you love me, man, and lock my guns up.
As I eat a bullet.
Yeah. Drink a bullet, not eat a bullet.
Drink a bullet.
We're way up. Do you even know what number we're on?
Yeah, we're on number 3. He's got a list right.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does.
What, you guys want to talk about the NRA Instagram?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So you
what
throw
about
that,
it?
Can you throw that up there, Shane?
That
so people
picture?
can see
Yeah,
what it
you
is?
bet. Let's see here.
Oh, let's see.
So if you haven't seen this, like, look at that.
All right.
My alarm tells me you're in the house. Yeah, I got an alarm. My gun tells me not for long. That just sends a bad message. That message is full of machoism.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not what's like on top of chips.
Machismo.
Yeah, machismo. See, that's close to being nachos too. Quit saying food stuff.
Oh, quit saying.
All right.
But I mean,
Too
should a
hungry?
national gun
You mean
rights
should the NRA
organization, should the
National
NRA,
Rifle
National Rifle Association, be promoting confronting somebody in your home with a gun?
No. Now here's I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, do I like this picture? No, but just hang on.
Okay.
So we don't know I get it, but before we tear the picture apart, was he in the garage and his family's on the other end of the house?
He looks like he's in his room.
I get it, but we don't know where he is. You can't tell me from there he's in a room. Now, where should he be?
Does it matter where he's at?
Sure. Let's go back and do this.
Ooh, I don't
If
know.
he's got
on this too.
Yeah. So if he's got a wife and kids, where should he be?
With his wife and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like let's get back to a room that has one entrance.
They should be in their
right?
barricade point.
Barricade point. And maybe they didn't even have a barricade point and he doesn't even know what that is because guess what? Remember, most people don't train. So skip all that.
Okay, so we're going to promote poor reaction?
No, remember, we're not promoting anything.
They are.
But they could be, I get that. But in the picture, he should be back with his loved ones, right? So you know where they're at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, let's move away from, remember, let's treat the bad guy like he's a big walking anti-superhero that has lightning bolts coming off of him and he's made of hot lava and he kills you if you run into him. You would want to stay away from that as far as you could.
I ain't scared of nobody.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I like that. I fear no man. So, yeah, but I'm not going to make fun of the picture other than maybe a little bit of the high muzzle. We don't know the rest of the story.
You know what? The fingers along the frame of the gun.
Yeah,
It's
got that
good.
going on, right?
Yeah.
And he's got cool hair. I mean, believe me, I'm jealous about
I
the
just
hair.
think the message, right?
No, the message is wrong.
The message
I'm
is,
trying to play devil's advocate. And,
and I'm gonna.
You ever watch these two on their show try to
I
play
know.
devil advocate?
It's hard when you agree with somebody.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna shut that down right now because that is the NRA.
Yeah.
That is the face of gun owners
Yeah.
to like most of people in America that are not gun owners, and they're saying somebody comes in my house, I need to confront them over property and hunt them down. That is the absolute wrong message. Wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how people get killed.
Sure, it is. It's how you die over shit. Yeah.
And I just think it's appalling that they put that out on their Instagram page.
Because the majority of people, if you're going to be like me, the
some guy
snowflake on the
chiming.
show,
Yeah.
I am hopefully with my family, and the last thing that I want to do is kill somebody. So I'm going to let that guy know before he even gets in the house.
Yeah.
Or if he's in the house going,
Yeah.
dude, I have a gun. I am going to shoot you if you walk in the door.
Yeah.
Do not walk in here. I will kill you.
How much training do you have again?
None.
None, right?
But I would hope that I'd be like going, I am not going to try to take a life if I don't have to.
So
Eric Sismedia says the NRA is a bunch of fuds and they need help with their social media.
touche.
All right.
Touche.
I'm going to find that guy.
What's a FUD again?
I'm going to find that
Elmer
guy.
Fudd? You know Elmer Fudd
Yeah,
on the
Elmer
cartoon?
Fudd, sure.
So that's it's a
Meh.
derogatory term that we, guys use that against people
I literally
that
want to find
try
him.
to act like Elmer Fudd. Like, You know?
Killed a rabbit?
Well,
Killed a
because
rabbit.
the Elmer Fudd is the joke of what a hunter, what people think of what a hunter is, where real responsible hunters don't act like that.
No, they fall asleep on logs and they wake up and look at deer.
And responsible gun owners, when somebody enters their house, they go to their barricade point with their family, they arm themselves, they barricade, and they call 911. And they do everything they can to avoid taking a
Like
human
you said,
life.
with no training.
With no training, you just hit the nail on the head. That's what you do.
Like
I'm on the
scream out.
phone.
Yeah.
I've got a weapon. Get out of here. Don't come in this room. Right? That's what we do. We don't hunt them down. We're not clearing rooms here. This isn't Fallujah.
You're taking it away?
Right?
Well, and I also think that people have this weird idea that people who are breaking into a house to steal shit to make money for whatever are going room to room and trying to like clear a house and kill people. They're trying to get in, get shit, and get out. And so hopefully if you barricade yourself and you're somewhere, they're not even going to find you. If you're hooting and hollering about saying, get out of my house, I'm going to kill you, they're going to be like, oh, shit, I've entered the wrong house.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
We don't talk about verbalization until they're at the door. Like they're coming in, then you maybe verbalize. Prior to that, it's probably a good move not to say anything and just let them do their thing. Right?
Eric Allen
Eric
just
Allen?
made a comment. He would like to know, if someone breaks into my house, why do I need to hide and wait to see what the bad guy does?
Because, Eric, we don't kill people over stuff.
And why go closer to something that, if you're willing to shoot somebody, Eric, because you thought they were going to harm you, why wouldn't we start out by staying as far away as we can from something you have to shoot because it might harm you?
I think the fallacy here is that people think because they have a firearm, suddenly they have the same obligation as law enforcement. We're not there. We're not there to detain. We're not there to apprehend. You're there to be safe, so you need to create distance.
Let's give Eric, and I don't think he means it in a bad way, but let's give him something factually.
Okay.
Hey, do you want to stay in a room that has one entrance? So now all I have to do is watch one door. Scary enough, right? When you thought you were going to have to launch a fist into his face because you thought he was at work, and it's just so. How about just having to watch one point of entry to know that's where the bad guy or good guy is coming in, right? Instead of when he say, why do I have to hide? If you pick the fight, Eric, so first of all, the guy picked your house. So you're already, and Eric, I'm going to assume maybe you do or don't live with other people you love, but you morally and ethically worry about shooting the wrong people, shooting your own loved ones. So let's find our loved ones. Let's have them with us so we don't have to worry about accidentally shooting them, so we know it's not them. And let's get to a place where you're actually making the bad guy work harder to get to you, limiting his access to you.
A place of advantage.
All of that. Instead of wandering around in your house and increase the chances of you yourself getting killed over shit that's not important, unless you can tell me. Now, if you say, Eric, out there somewhere, hey, I have to move through the house to get to my kid's room because I'm worried about my kids, that's a totally different ballgame. Get to your kid's room then barricade. But don't go look around to see who might be in our house that we think might hurt us. But
so Eric says, how can I assume his intention?
We never do.
You don't have to assume his intentions. You need to work on your intention, which is to stay safe. So you need to get in the safest place possible.
You know what? I like it because he's asking questions. So if you're in a room with your family with the door closed and maybe you're trying to hide them behind a dresser or anything or a bookshelf or things that might absorb bullets, and you yell out to somebody, like you said, hey, now he's trying the doorknob. If you come through that fucking door, I'll shoot you, right? Do people talk like that under stress?
They do.
You can say professional things like, I'm on the phone with the police. I have a firearm. You're in my home. I might scream at you. If you come through that door, I'll shoot you. I mean, that's like what's going to happen. Now, if they come through there, when I say it's all the easier, they have to come through one place. I have one place to aim. And morally and ethically, I've warned you, which helps you sleep better 2 years later. Doesn't hurt to have that on a 911 call that you warned somebody. I would say that actually makes their intentions all the more clear, Eric, so you never have to second guess, did I do the right thing? Like, you got to remember, some bad guys deserve to be shot because they choose to make that decision to come after you or come into a room where you're occupied. But it's nice for you, Eric, to know that you only shot the guy that you had to because he tried to come in the bedroom when you moved away from, your house. You fell back, so to speak, fall back with your family barricade. And now when your 5-year-old doesn't sleep very well at night because they're peeing the bed again because daddy shot people in the face in front of him, you're at least knowing that you did it because you had to do it. You felt like you had to do it, not you wandered out looking for it.
And if you go to a place of advantage, you go to a barricade point, we got to still satisfy the use of deadly force, the AOJ triangle, right?
Oh, no,
the
you can just shoot anybody in your house.
The opportunity, the jeopardy, right?
Yeah.
If you're moving to a place of advantage or a barricade point, it's very easy to determine if you're in jeopardy. If I'm in the living room and the guy's taking my television and I shoot him, was I in jeopardy? That's very arguable.
Yeah, to work.
But if he's trying to bust down the door in my barricade point, my bedroom, I was definitely in jeopardy. I can articulate that, yeah, this is bad, right? I told him to stay away. I've got a gun. I'm on the phone with 911. Cops are on the way. He still doesn't care and he's busting down my door. It's pretty easy to make that case, right?
You know, another perspective that we might want to think about is how many situations did a parent or loved one kill their kid or another loved one who had come into their home?
It's not rare whatsoever.
And if they would have applied this type of logic of, I'm in my room, I'm yelling, hey, I've got a gun, don't come in here. The police are on the phone, they're on their way. If they were yelling like that and they had one point of entry, if that son or daughter or wife were coming in at that point, you know they would be yelling and communicating instead of a parent walking through trying to clear their home. Which, you know, Eric, I'm not trying to beat you over the head. I just wanted to maybe... Like, that's a different perspective of why you might want to not go through the house searching, because you might accidentally, under fear, under stress, under adrenaline, making poor decisions, you might actually shoot somebody that you actually care about instead of the bad guy.
And honestly, we're talking, I mean, realistically, we're talking about best case scenario here, right? Sure. Is there a situation where you might get backed into a corner in your living room? And yeah, but the use of deadly force, you are going to have to satisfy all those criteria or you're going to jail. We're just talking about best practices to keep you out of jail and to save your own life.
And I think it's also very simple, and it's also kind of common sense, which is why I love this podcast and I hope it continues. But I remember I was talking to my wife and I said, God, I was listening to Ernie and Mike and I was like, I wonder if I should get some training and get a handgun. I'm just not sure. And she's like, how about we start locking the front door of the house and we make sure the garage door is closed at night?
Imagine that.
And I was like,
hey, do you have a dog?
I don't have a dog.
Get a dog.
Get one.
Get a dog.
Oh.
Anyways, I just love the practicality of that, of her saying like, okay, that makes sense, but how about we start doing the basic shit first?
Do you have an electric garage door?
Yeah.
Does it go into like the mudroom in the kitchen? Like you pull into the garage? Attached garage?
Attached garage,
Yep.
yeah.
Is there an automatic locking door between the garage and the house?
Yeah.
Good. There's a start.
But that goes back to that plausibility principle that we always talk about. And, you know, what's the most likely thing to happen? Is the most likely thing to happen that you're going to have to defend yourself with a firearm? No. But the most likely thing is going to be somebody's going to try to bust into your garage and get your stuff, or maybe get in the house because now the door's unlocked.
Right.
But now we're going to lock the door. So that's better.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, again, the that's what I appreciate about your podcast. Is the practicality that's involved with it. That's what I like. Because, again, it changed my perspective about how I look at gun ownership and gun owners. And then it also started making me think of, like, more common sense. Like, you guys weren't like, yeah, go buy shotguns, go buy all this shit. It was more of, like, how are you going to be practical about how you protect yourself and your family?
Sure.
I really always really appreciated that.
Now,
and it isn't because we've done everything right in our life. Like, I've told many people, not like every class, but I mean, it's no secret that somebody will definitely say, I was in his class when he talked about that. When somebody's like, hey, tell us about this incident. I have definitely done the wrong thing before. And, hey, I'm alive and my family's alive. So I don't sit up here and tell people, you know, don't be a sucker, you know, don't go and get involved in this and this and this. I've done the wrong thing, as in I've exited my own home to go deal with people just stealing stuff out of my garage. And it all turned out okay, and the police showed up, and yay for the guys in blue. But when you go backwards, like I tell everybody, is 3 o'clock in the morning, I just walked out of my own house, left the door unlocked to go out and deal with bad guys in my backyard. Looking back, how many bad guys were there? Was there 2 more out front? I mean, I unlocked a 2-inch thick 1928 door that had 2 deadbolts on it and left it open. How smart is that? You know, so when I preach to people, it's like, God, don't be like me, you know, and like I tell them, we're not sitting here acting like I've never made a mistake. It's like, don't go die over shit. And if you've ever, some people, maybe in different circumstances, if you've ever like spent time with somebody in the last moments of their life, if you've never had that experience, whether through sickness or injury or whatever, like nobody like sits there and looks you in the eye and says, God, I really wish I had another day with my Harley, you know, and shit like that. So You got to
It's a good
kind of
CVO T-shirt.
Yeah.
CVO on the chest. Don't die for shit on the back.
yeah,
Perfect.
that's a good one.
Don't die for shit.
Man, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna talk about quiche. I mean, this quiche is to die for, but my shit's not. There's your shirt. See? Oh. We're like only on the third thing. What are we in?
right.
Like an
Wait,
hour into the show?
I'll let Jen
Something I
know
wanted
about
to bring
that.
up.
Yeah, do.
Before we get too far off topic,
What?
when you guys were talking about, do you have a dog? Ernie said, do you have a dog?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I don't know if you guys saw it on Facebook, whatever. My wife had taken a bunch of pictures, but my neighborhood, all the kids got together and did this humongous slip and slide, and all the parents are out there watching what's going on. One of the parents works with convicts, and we just happened to have a conversation. He goes, so I was talking to a convict the other day, and it sounds like the beginning of a bad joke.
Yeah.
But the convict was telling this guy,
Top 10 things they don't like.
yeah,
Yeah.
very first thing, he goes, I would sit in a neighborhood and check it out for over a week and write down patterns of each house. And I would immediately cross off houses that had pets, that had dogs. I would immediately cross those houses
They're also
off.
too random, let alone their alarm clocks, and it's not even the whole might bite you thing, it's they wake you up, right?
Right,
You know,
right,
but
yeah.
and they're random. I mean, like dogs, if they have a doggy door, they could walk out at 2:00 in the morning. So everybody go buy a dog. This will be an ad for the Lynn County Humane Society. Go adopt a dog. Not a puppy mill dog, go adopt a dog. Yes. Only Mike spends money on high-end Labradors from like 8 states away and drives overnight and gets them.
Labs are so sweet. They're so dumb, but they're so great.
She's a friggin' dynamo, dude.
Don't call
Sorry,
Mike's,
I just called Mike's dog
She's
dumb.
no,
God damn it.
dude. She's incredibly smart. Honestly, like she's taught
sorry.
herself stuff.
Yeah,
They-
every parent
when,
says that.
When labs walk around, I can't help but hear
They're
this.
doofy looking.
Like, I mean, that's what I think of a lot.
Yeah.
You're right, though. They're good dogs.
Yeah, very good. High energy.
Trying to
High
save
energy.
myself here.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next topic?
Yeah, let's talk about
Are we
it.
talking about best home defense gun?
You want to talk about that now, or you want to skip it? Let's talk about the business owner, and we'll talk about best home defense gun later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there hey, best home defense gun, where did that come up at? That's a curveball.
that was in the email.
That was in the email.
No, an email?
Yeah, read your email.
An email.
Text.
Oh, I went.
Text message.
Yeah, it was in a
Oh,
text.
shit,
It was
let
in
me
the
bust,
te-
I'm
I
going to
didn't
bust that
see-
shit out right now. Right
didn't
here.
see
Here's
that
my
text.
thing. I don't see anything about best gun. I clicked on all these.
Yeah, it's not a
Oh,
it's not
because
a
it's not a
hyperlink.
link.
I don't
not
have a
hyperlink.
link.
No, you're right.
All right,
You are
we'll skip
technically
that. Let's
right
talk
again.
about the business owner in Des
I
Moines.
can tell you the best gun. Glock 19.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, you talk about the thing in Des Moines.
So, you guys correct me if I get this story wrong, because
Waited 2 hours.
I didn't read the article today. I read it the other day. Guy looks on his surveillance cameras at his business. Things appear to be burglarized. He waited 2 hours, goes to his business.
How many times did he call the cops during the 2 hours?
I think none.
Okay.
And he goes to the business. He's in the business. Guy comes back to burglarizes it. He confronts the guy. The guy makes a threat against his life. He goes back in the facility, grabs a handgun, comes out, fires a warning shot, which ricochets off the ground, kills the
Ground
bad guy,
wall,
right?
Ricochets off something.
Yeah, I think it was the ground.
Okay.
And kills the bad guy. He's not to be charged.
Okay.
Cool, right?
What's your problem?
So no problem because he's been ruled justified. I want to talk about the tactics of all that.
Okay.
Like none of that was good. I'm
they really-
Monday morning quarterback in this whole thing.
Let's do it then.
So I see that my place is being burglarized, and I don't call the cops.
No, why? Tell me one good reason.
I don't know why.
No, there is no good reason.
There is
So
none.
just check that right there.
So as a business owner, right?
Yeah.
If you saw that your business was broken into,
Yeah.
it's probably the first call you make.
I have called the cops.
Yeah.
I call the cops all the time. Yep.
For
And I'll meet them. I'll be out in the parking lot. See you guys. I mean, that's their job, man. There's
Right.
like 203 of them, and they have dogs and rifles and cool shit. I let them go in there. And they're super nice, and we always hang out after hours. They're not burning the clock, Chief. They're what's that called? Community policing. Yep.
community policing.
They're actually clearing every room thoroughly. So, yes, I count on the police to make sure my store is safe, not me. I have very rarely actually, because I don't want to be wrong. I can't afford to be wrong, but people will point out that in the past, if you remember some of my shenanigans on Facebook, I've spent the night overnight at my store before when there was no power for an extended amount of time. Because, bad guys, I know you listen too. I have like redundancy over redundancy on my security camera. So you're not breaking in and not setting off my alarm. That shit doesn't happen unless an EMP went off, right? So, but I've gone and
electromagnetic pulse.
So I've gone and stayed overnight, not to sit there and protect my guns. And this is where people can say I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. I'm not staying overnight in my store, like during an ice storm and there's no power. It isn't because, oh my God, I'm not going to let anybody steal my guns. It's because I don't want my guns stolen and out on the street because we know they go and do bad things, right? Like, we don't blame the guns, but people that take guns and steal them, they do bad things. I've stayed overnight in my store before because, like, I don't want the pipes to freeze, or I'm literally going to keep an eye on the place. But I'm not there to be like, I'm going to shoot these dudes when come in because you're not going to steal my guns. That's not why I stayed overnight. So that being said, I'm not willing to die over the shit in my store. Like, no thank you. Like, it's not a thing. That's what the police are for. And the police shouldn't die over the shit in my store either. But I'm not going to go in.
But it is their job to respond.
It's their job to respond. I even have my alarm calls them immediately. So there's another thing. I don't care how many bad guys are listening. I'll pay all the false alarm fees that you want. And the city of Marion's good to me. I have to pay. Believe me, they cost me money. But my alarm company doesn't call me. If my alarm goes off, whether it was a freaking mouse fart or whether it's somebody actually trying to break the glass or whatever, and all the sensors go off, it calls the police immediately. Like, it's not one of those ADT, there's a problem here. Well, we'll send an officer. Hell no. It's set up to where we already know bad guys drive through front windows and they crash. And, you got about 90 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever. So my alarm calls the police first, and then the police end up calling me later and say, hey, by the way, we're there. What do you want to do? So, and I always go down there and say hi to them. Because don't you hate it as a policeman when the key holder never has the respect to show up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm never going to not be that key holder unless I was physically like, hey, I'm in Canada, but I have other key holders to show up.
So first bad move was not calling the police.
Yeah. And again, all I've read, when I say all I know about it, I've read like every news article there is, right? Mm-hmm. But they vary greatly in detail. Very. But,
yeah, and they do.
But they have said that he saw that his place had been broken into 2 hours before he went there.
Yeah.
And they do say that he observed the guy late, when I say late in the game, he hadn't already called the police to say, hey, it's very apparent that my place has been broken into. The news article I read that had the most detail, if it's correct, because it's a news article, said that he saw the person on the security thing and chose to get in his car and drive down there. It'd be one thing to say, oh, shit, my place has been broken into, and make the mental call to not call the police and go down there and check it out yourself and be like, holy shit, there's a bad guy in here. You know what I mean? I could almost, like, when I say it doesn't matter, I don't have to forgive him. It's not up to me. I could see if you're just like, oh, man, somebody broke into my muffler shop last night. I better get down there and check it out. And when you get there, you're like, sure as shit, somebody broke into my muffler shop. I better call the police or whatever.
But wouldn't you want to, knowing what you know,
walk into a cleared
building?
building?
I wouldn't go into it. I would not go into an uncleared building by myself.
No, I would not. But here's what I have to remind you. Most people aren't trained.
Right.
They don't
that's
know
why we're,
to not
That's why
go
we're
into a
talking
building.
about it right now, because maybe somebody that owns a muffler shop is going to listen to this, and next time they won't do some dumb shit like that.
If I owned some fancy-ass, like, highfalutin boutique / quiche / coffee shop in Marion, and I had a security system, and I saw that somebody kicked in the back door to my, quiche shop.
By the way, he's talking to you, Simon.
Yeah. So, do not go in there, right? Like, don't go looking for dangers. Don't go into places where
Didn't we just talk about that?
I know.
Right.
And so let's circle back around.
Yeah.
You know how you said most people are just looking to steal shit and they don't really want to interact with you? Mm-hmm. And you're right. Most bad guys don't want a confrontation like that. Where you need to be able to switch gears, and Eric, to give him kudos, if you're yelling at people, hey, you're in my house, get the hell out of here, I'm on the phone with the police, I got a gun, I'll shoot you if you come through this door. If those people stick around and stay in your house, that's bad.
Yeah.
People that choose to stay in an occupied building are a completely different kind of criminal than the people that just want to steal your shit and sell it and buy some more crack.
Well, I would agree with that in the sense that if I knew somebody was going to, if I'm yelling, and I'm not a small person, but when I yell, it's intimidating. If I'm saying I'm going to fucking kill you if you walk in that door and they choose to,
that's a little aggressive.
Then
it's kind of
then
kind of aggressive.
Then
but people talk
it's
that
anti-snowflake. I get
that's
it.
All right.
But
that
if I do that and they continue to say they're going to come in, then I automatically will probably push my humanity aside and say this person either just gives no shits at all, and I'm in the right place to do what I have to do.
They've established their intent then.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. There you go. They established their intent.
So reportedly, some of the articles I read said once he got there,
I love how he just said, "Yeah, you're right. They established intent." When he went from "I'm looking for fucks that I give," nope, there are none.
Yeah, there are none, right?
He articulated it much better than I
right?
did. That's why.
But so the guy said something right to him that made him fear for his life. The muffler shop owner. But then he goes back in the building and grabs a firearm. So why are we not at that point locking the door? And I'm going to assume that the guy was outside. I don't know.
We don't know, do we?
Let's just
That's
make
the
it
whole
up.
thing is
I'm going to
we don't
make it
know.
up. I'm making up what I want.
Well, now we can't.
It's my own worldview. I do what I want.
Fine.
Right?
So in the alternate world of a Des Moines muffler shop,
he had the ability to go somewhere and come back.
Yeah.
Why don't we just go somewhere and cut out the whole come back part and maybe call the police at that point?
You're being logical.
That's mistake number 2.
Okay. What was mistake number 3?
Mistake number 3 is firing a warning shot, the use of deadly force without being deadly about it, right?
Okay. I mean, if you're going to fire a warning shot, just shoot at me.
No, firing a warning shot is illegal, correct? Isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You're discharging a weapon into public.
Here's the problem. When you say it's illegal, let's clarify. If I'm trying to kill you and you fire a warning shot, that's not illegal. If you thought literally, if I'm trying to kill you and you fire a warning shot, that's not illegal. So I want people to know technically correct. If I'm trying to kill you, you have a right to shoot me, right?
Okay.
But let's say you choose to shoot your gun in the ground. That's a waste of bullets. I'm over here with a samurai sword saying I'm going to cut your head off. You should be shooting me. Don't shoot the ground.
Okay.
So it's you firing what you consider a warning shot, not illegal.
Okay.
The problem is, this is my assessment, our world, right? My world. When you read stories about people that fire warning shots, there's an underlying consistent theme of, I wasn't really sure what he was going to do, so I fired a warning shot.
And is that verbiage that
that's
takes you right
not
out of...
like I thought this crazy son of a bitch with tattoos that looked like a bleeding heart liberal was triggered and he was going to kill me. See? All that.
Okay.
I've left out snowflake. Bleeding heart liberal
snowflake.
trigger.
We need snowflake is better.
But
that pisses me off a lot
if you were to
more.
flip the script, if Nick Maybanks was here, we were able to ask him a legal question of...
Yes.
What could the thief...
Yes.
Could the thief had said, "Hey, he grabbed. I didn't have a gun.
Yeah.
And who are all these witnesses that said
people don't,
I made a threat against his life? But he did fire his gun. I was in fear for my life.
Sure.
So I turned around and shot him.
Sure. Here's where that gets sticky and people don't like the answer. The real answer is somebody might say there's a judge that's never going to prosecute. Blah blah blah. Tell you what, there's a lawyer. Like if I'm stealing your Harley. And you want to shoot a gun past me as a warning shot, guess what? That's deadly force. Can you use deadly force to protect a Harley? No, you can't. So by
People
theory,
don't want to hear
they
that.
don't want to hear that because they're like, you're telling me. So then that's where I do say, and I would love to have Nick Maybanks here. We've played this game as, if I'm on your Harley and I'm going to drive away on it, and you point a gun at me and Shane and say, my dad gave me that Harley. It's the most important thing to me ever, other than that bullet bourbon. And if you if you try to leave on that Harley, I'm going to shoot you. You're not allowed to shoot me over your Harley. So now I could say, as an educated criminal, you're making like completely irrational statements that you're going to kill me over something you can't. So now do I have a right to defend myself against you, the crazy homeowner? And I get why people are mad.
Sure.
So in the long run, you have to go back and say, why are you in your driveway with a gun, Shane? Well, he's trying to steal my Harley. But why do you need a gun? Well, he might hurt you. So you're saying there's a chance he might hurt you. Yes, he might hurt me, so I have a gun. Then get back in your house. I mean, they don't like that. The whole point is, don't go die over shit, right? Don't go die over shit.
So if I were to...
Don't die over shit. Hashtag don't die over shit.
If I were to bring this back to the first thing we talked about.
Quiche?
What's the most
first
important
thing we talked about today was
That's true.
quiche.
Can you fire a warning shot over quiche?
No.
Okay.
It's damn good quiche, though.
We talked about the two different types of training.
Okay.
We talked about different types of training. So would scenario training, at this point, do you think that scenario training, what should you do if, instead of target training, instead of actually firing your gun, isn't situational training of, all right, let's put people in a scenario. How are we going to react? What are the consequences of doing this? All right, let's say you're a business owner and people actually walk you through scenarios, take you to a physical spot, actually like have somebody play a part. Is that type of training more beneficial than target training? I ask that because EMT, first aid, first responder type training, in your mind, Mike, is way more important than if you're in the mindset of I own a gun to save a life. The first aid, first responder type of training is way more important than owning a gun.
I would not say more important. I would say more plausible, like more likely to be used. Mm-hmm. But as it happens, we do run an end of course simulation, right? At the end of our fundamentals of concealed carry class, where we put people in a situation where they have to make decisions. And it would probably not surprise you to know that people fall apart. They fall apart. But that tells them something, right? They learn from their mistakes. They're like, oh, crap, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
I shot the guy in the orange shirt.
I shot the guy in the orange shirt. What color shirt did I tell you the bad guy had? Yellow. You just shot an innocent person. Right?
I wouldn't say innocent. They were participating in a forcible felony.
Well, they were participating in felony. But you
I don't want to say
somebody,
innocent, Bob.
You shot somebody. You shot somebody that was not presenting a threat.
I wouldn't say I missed class, Bob.
Right.
So
that little guy, don't worry about that little guy.
Don't See, we have fun in class too. I mean, we learn from.
So, I mean, back to your point,
Burbank.
I absolutely believe that it's more important to concentrate on that stuff if you're talking about self-defense. If you're talking about being better with your firearm, then absolutely you need to work on accuracy. And there's some validity to the thought that you need to be able to produce on demand, right? Mm-hmm. And you can only do that by practice.
Right. Well, I guess a question is, there's classes for firearm training, whether it's concealed carry or tactical or whatever it is, and there's classes for EMTs and first responders and first aid, right? But are there classes just for situational awareness situations?
Absolutely. Land the plane's one we've talked about in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And what is land the plane for people who?
So a friend of ours, Mike Anderson, teaches that, and it's a no gun class.
Okay.
Ernie brings them down here a couple times a year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like no real guns.
Yeah. No
real guns.
As in no live fire, real firearms. He does use some.
You would love it. You should come.
Some plastic guns, but he spends the entire day. He calls it land the plane because
it's confusing.
It is confusing. But the concept is these pilots get in these simulators and they go through these crazy malfunctions, whatever, and they solve the problem, and then they crash when they land because they've done this, and they've solved the problem, and then they have an emotional letdown, and right. So he talks a lot about pre-attack.
Pre-assault clues.
Yeah, pre-assault clues, but pre-attack procedures. Like, what am I going to do to de-escalate, avoid, look for indicators that these people are going to, like, target me? And then the actual attack is a very small part because he's got to throw that in there to give it context. But then he talks a lot about the aftermath. What am I going to do now?
Not Slim Shady aftermath.
No.
Like the real aftermath.
The real aftermath.
Okay.
So, I've had to shoot somebody, hit somebody in the head with the baseball. It doesn't matter. I've had to defend myself. Now what do I do? I got to talk to the cops.
You get shot. You get shot a lot in that class.
I do.
He's our role player.
I usually play the bad guy.
He's the bad guy.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
You know what he plays? He plays the homeless veteran.
I do. One of my favorite lines. And so if you ever come to the class, and if I ask if you hate America, the proper answer is no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to assume that's always the proper answer. That's just me, though. I could be wrong.
Because I usually start off like, hey, you got $1? No. Well, I'm a vet, man. I need $1. No. What, do you hate America? And then I get really aggressive and people freak out.
They do. No, like for real. Yeah. You would like it. You'd enjoy it. And then, however you deal with it. So when we say it's a non-gun class, here's the thing. If you said, hey, or I'm Simon. Hey, I run this shop. I don't, I'm not going to carry guns. It's not my thing. You still take that class. You just don't carry the little laser gun as an option to solve the situation because you don't do that in real life. Maybe Simon's like, well, I do have knives laying all around, or I'm willing to carry a knife because it's only a knife. And I'm not making fun of that. Whatever that student is in real life, they have to be honest with themselves. Or maybe they carry nothing because they have a benign workplace where you're not allowed to have that. Then that's how they go through the scenarios. So they might have to deal with, aggressive homeless veteran Mike with no weapons, or they're a person that carries a knife and a gun and pepper spray. So, but either way, however they decide to deal with it, especially if it involves violence, then you have the real cops show up. As in, when I say that, as in like there's real cops there. and they're going to come in and handcuff you and talk to you the way they would, and they'll put you in a little fake like cop car. And have you watched people fall apart during that?
Yeah, and they will fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's self-defense training too, right? We don't focus just on the gun, right? Because the gun's not the end-all, be-all. I haven't said holistic yet, have I?
Do it.
I just did.
Bust it
so
out.
you got to have a holistic self-defense plan.
Well, that Alice training, we had a woman that was going through the first phase of it and just kind of freaked out by it, and
got emotional,
got over the top, and she's like, and I remember Dobbs like, listen, we can stop this. She's like, no, I need to go through this. I need to get. He's like, no, you've done enough. This is a normal reaction. You're okay. We don't have to worry about all the other phases. Get used to how this feels so you can understand what's happening. So I get that. And
that's an important part. I mean, kind of rehashing what we've already talked about, but I do a lot of active shooter training myself. I just did a bunch of seminars on Monday.
You can book Mike through cedarvilleoutfitters.org.
Right? Hey. So I was in Pekin, Illinois about 3 months ago, and I did a...
Cheating on me.
I was cheating on Ernie, right? I was teaching a 1-hour seminar that I gave like 9 times to this group of employees.
Call it whatever you want. It's cheating.
It's cheating. But during one of the sessions, I'm looking at the audience and I'm giving my spiel. And I'm talking about what you might have to do to defend yourself. That's your only option, right? Running's always the best option. Barricade if you can, but you may have to physically defend yourself. And I was talking about different ways to do it. And there was a lady out there, and I could just see in her face, she was struggling. Like, it was physically making her upset and sad to even think about hurting another human being, which is fine. But that's why you need to go to training, because if that's your deal, then you have to have different options. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so I do not feel like I can punch somebody in the face. So that option's out for me. Now I got to get better at the other stuff. Right?
Maybe you should go out jogging.
Yes, maybe you should go because you're going to have to run a lot.
You're going to have to run. If you don't want to fight, you got to have to run.
But, maybe I do other things. So that's what training is about, to find out where you're weak and shore up those weaknesses and try to get better at the stuff you're good at.
Look at this guy.
Yes, sir.
Can you specifically respond to people like, so Eric said, when would this class be offered again? And me not knowing any better, is he talking about landing the planes? Is he talking about home defense?
He's talking about landing the plane, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, like in September. So
is it on your website, Ernie?
No, it's not. I'm working it out with Mike.
Other Mike.
What am I going to do with
Mike Anderson.
The guy with the ridiculous mustache.
We will get it posted. Devilishly handsome, he calls himself.
Devilishly handsome with the ridiculous mustache.
He does. Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. I declare my love for him.
I'm glad you said ridiculous, because I thought you said dickless mustache.
No,
I was like,
ridiculous.
You need to maybe cut back.
We're going way too far.
All right. That's a different show, liberal guy. Hey. Yes.
So should we talk maybe a little bit about
the store? No.
How
I don't
dare
want to.
You try to plug your store?
What do you want to talk about?
How
come everybody else they get to go pee? I want to walk away from. I've never once walked away from the podcast.
How do you think I feel?
Go do it. Go pee with Simon.
Anyway, what do you want to talk about?
The police officer. Okay. Real quick recap.
Say windshield. Say it one more time.
Hold on. Real quick recap of the last story we talked about. The owner of the store did 0 correct. Every single turn of every option that he could have done, it seemed like he did the wrong thing. He saw the individual on the camera. He did not call the police. He went to the scene of possible threat. He went in and out of the scene knowing that the person's still there, went and got a gun, fired a warning shot, and he's not being charged. Like, in a way, when I read that story, I see a huge portion of the populace going, yeah, you defended your stuff, man. Mm-hmm. Good job. That's what I'm talking about. That guy didn't get charged. Whereas, every single choice he made was wrong.
I'm going to say this.
Seems like, anyway.
The shooting, we don't have all the facts, right? That's one. We're throwing this out as an example of what not to do, right? However, the shooting was found justified, so the prosecuting attorney, the county attorney, ultimately decided that he was in fear for his life and the shooting was justified. All that other stuff is beside the point. We're using it as an example. Like, we could have avoided this situation entirely. right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's all I'm going to say about it.
Well, hopefully it doesn't bolster other people to react in the same way, because the outcome may not and probably won't be the same.
Yeah, this guy's extremely lucky. Extremely lucky that he's not in jail for a long time or being prosecuted for something right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, back to the other thing. The next thing is the police officer firing through the windshield.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah, are you ready?
Are you ready?
What's your thoughts? Go.
So, for those of you that don't know, there's a chase of some known felons, right, or potential felons. They just killed somebody. Mm-hmm. Suspected vehicle, car chase through the streets of Las Vegas. And this officer decided that his best course of action was to fire at. So he's being fired at, right? He's being actively engaged right now.
During a pursuit.
They were saying
During a
over
pursuit,
37 shots
right?
fired.
So the bad guys are shooting a lot of bullets. He decided that he was going to shoot through his own windshield back at them. I mean, honestly, guys, I don't know what to say, because I wasn't there. On face value,
That's a
it
cop
seems
out.
like
You weren't
no.
there.
Let me finish.
No, I agree with you.
At face value, it seems like a poor decision.
Yeah.
But maybe that was the only decision he could come up with at the time. I don't know.
Well, and when I saw it, and I was the one who brought it to Shane's attention.
Okay, so first of all,
I watched it.
before anybody has time to bullshit each other, you said that's badass. When you,
Yes.
when you brought it up.
No, I didn't say it was badass. I just thought that it was a bold decision. Like I thought,
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Could
Let's
they?
see if that plays off.
Is that a normal thing? Because I was like, when I think
See if
my
that strategy pays off.
my EMT training told me that when I was going to be a firefighter, that when I came into a situation, I can't help anybody if I'm dead. So
Right.
I'm not going to run into anything.
Yeah.
And as I assess the situation that's happening.
Well,
And so when I
technically-
see when I see that cop doing that, I'm not going to judge him at all. I'm just going to say that it made me think, okay, those guys are firing guns all over this as they drive, and there's people innocent on the streets, and I understand that point of view. But then I'm thought, at one point, the cop is double-handing shooting, and he's driving with his
knees.
legs. And I'm like,
That's how we eat quiche on the way to work. Or Zoe's Pizza on
could
your way
he
home
wreck
after
his
a long
car
day.
and take out a family on the sidewalk
Yeah,
just
I mean,
as much
there's
as
so
the
many-
bullets flying?
So many moving parts here. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So, was that his not a good choice, but was that his only choice at the time? I mean, I don't know.
It might be. It might.
You know?
When I watched that, I wasn't sitting there going, "Oh, what the hell's this guy's problem?" It was more of like,
Wow.
we are asking human beings to do things that
Yeah.
are so beyond
There you
the
go.
capacity for me to comprehend. Like, I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, but I start going to the point where I'm like, we are asking human beings to be like supermen to try to protect and to serve people against criminals who are as bad as superhero kind of criminals. Like they're shooting guns while they're driving on the street in Las Vegas. Like, we're asking people to do astronomical things, and I'm just not sure if we have the capacity to kind of do that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm at an absolute loss. I understood what the cop was doing, and I didn't question him going, what's wrong with this crazy rogue cop? It wasn't that at all. It's like, wow, he was trying to take care of everybody around him.
He drove like the man.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Oh, what he did was incredibly difficult. You want to know what my first thought was?
Go.
I'll tell you what my first thought. When he pulled out his Glock and he started shooting through the windshield.
Smith was an MP.
Was it an
Glock?
MP?
I think I got to give Duke.
Anyway,
Yeah.
his firearm.
Uh-huh.
He started shooting through the windshield. My very first thought was, I wonder what the trajectory of that first.
Yeah,
Because I went back
sure.
to the armed defense
Yep.
around vehicles class we took last summer, where we were shooting
Yep.
through the windshield. I was like,
Yep. And that's pretty.
immediately, right? I started thinking about when I was shooting through a windshield in that class and how the trajectory of the bullet was
Sure.
different, right?
Sure.
I wondered. I was like, I wonder if he's worried about that.
No, I'm going to say there's some.
He's trying to fucking stop people. That's
You guys
my
want to see
thought.
the
Is, like,
video real
he
quick?
is a
I
human.
mean, it's only like a 15, 20
Yeah,
second
yeah,
video.
yeah.
Let's
Go
play,
ahead.
All right.
let's play the video.
Does that mean the public's going to watch it with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I got a chubby.
there's something in the video that I want you guys to maybe you'll catch up on. Maybe you've already seen it.
Wait a minute.
Don't.
I already. Go
hold
ahead.
on.
Fine. Go. I already know what it is.
But when Cy told me about this and we watched it earlier, there's a few things I was shocked by.
Okay.
I never see somebody shooting through a windshield when they're driving because, one, it's probably going to impact their vision,
Yeah.
right? And we're always used to, like, the movie shooting where one person sticks their hand out but there's another thing, and maybe somebody else will pick up on it when they watch this video, but
Sticking his
Check it
magazine
out.
backwards or
Don't
what?
give away any hints, Ernie.
I have lots of things I want to point out. I'll point out.
Wait.
Okay.
He already gave it away.
I know there's several things. I don't even care about that part.
I don't even care about that part either.
I want to point out. I'm going to point out some other things when we're done.
All right, let's see if it even loads.
Play it.
Well, I'm playing it.
It's on CNN. Fake news. Fake news. Oh, it went away. As soon as I said fake news.
As soon as it loads up, I'll come back to it.
Is it more of a? Do you think it's more of a reactionary thing of like, my job is to do this, and so I'm going to try to do this, and these guys are not stopping. They were shooting at him as well. They stopped the cop car already, right? Yeah. They already stopped the cop car before that guy even shot through the windshield.
I think at some level he had to make that. I feel, and I wasn't there. I'm not the dude.
No.
I feel like he was backed into a corner. I feel like he had been chasing these guys. They're launching rounds at him, and he's like, "What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Okay, I'll just shoot him through the windshield."
I totally agree, and I am a completely novice at any of this stuff.
What if we don't get to watch the video? What if it never loads?
Darn it! All right. Well, forget it.
Here's what I want to point out. You ready?
Yeah.
Several times you
go
back and
watch the video.
I've watched it one time.
Video.
I've only watched it one time ever. I'd swear on my brother's grave. I've watched that thing one time. And I clearly remember, first of all, he keeps asking for the air unit. Where's the air unit? Go back and listen to how many times he says, where's the air unit? So what we don't know is, like, if the helicopter or whatever their air unit is ever showed up and said, hey, I got you. Like, I'm above you. Like, I see you. Would he have backed off?
Yeah.
So they don't lose eyes on people that have already killed people.
Okay.
So, right? Like, you are pursuing a violent felon.
So he's being placed in the box.
He's placed in the box. So here's the other thing is, hey, who else got sued last month for not doing anything?
The police.
How do you want it, America? Do you see they sued all the individual cops outside of Parkland?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not just the one guy.
Yeah, all of them.
Oh, so how does America want it? You want cops to go in and do bad guy things?
Be superheroes,
and be superheroes? Or do you want them to sit back and let people go? Because you can't have it both ways. It could not be more clear that you can't sit around and ride this guy's ass and at the same time let anybody in America think it's acceptable to sue the officers that didn't go into Parkland School. Which way do you want it? And everybody can say, well, that's bullshit. They didn't know in Parkland, different officers. How do you want it in the world of law enforcement today where, and I'm not saying, oh, hey, this guy's got a broken taillight and you try to pull over Eric and he takes off and people have to literally say, well, why is he running? And it is like, why is he running, right? Does he have a 13-year-old in the trunk you don't know about? You don't know. And when people think I make that shit up, every once in a while, do people run away with people's kids? Yeah, they do. But we're talking about people that witnessed a violent felony, and now those people, while committing more violent felonies, which is launching rounds through a car, through town, when are we going to just, there's even a guy that you and I know named Rob. He doesn't like it, right? Did you read Rob Pincus talk about it?
Yeah.
Irresponsible, whatever. And, and that's cool. I respect Rob for saying he thinks it's not the right thing to do. I respectfully say we weren't there. No way to know. Did that cop watch the people just kill people? Because it was known. They said that he knew that they were the ones that...
Yeah, they were identified as suspects in a murder that had happened, I don't know, like an hour before. Yep. And as soon as they tried to pull them over, they ran. Yep. So that's a pretty good indicator that they may be the right people.
And as they ran, they did what?
They started shooting.
They started shooting at a police officer.
Yeah.
So I get it that you can literally factually say, hey, they're driving through town shooting a gun. So is the answer for the cop to drive through town and shoot through the gun? This is back to the fact that, hey, we don't want to have to shoot anybody. But if I ever have to shoot anybody, like if I'm going to choose to shoot somebody, it's going to be shooting the bad guy, right? They're driving through town shooting at law enforcement and risking hitting everyone else. He's driving through town shooting at bad guys. And yes, risking hitting other people? Sure. You remember the time where he goes around the corner, goes up over, if you remember it, because I'm like, wow, he's like going to bust a rim on that median. Goes up over the median. They're shooting at him when there's cars sitting at red lights waiting to go the other way. That's when he crosses over into oncoming to get over there, right? So, like I said, I've watched the thing one time. And I remember he's screaming at the other officer, they're shooting. Like maybe the closer officer couldn't even hear the actual gun rounds. So if you want to sit and compare two guys in a Blazer, Bronco, whatever that thing is, ripping rounds off at an intersection that's loaded up with cars versus go back and watch when he chose to start shooting and where they were, completely two different circumstances. Like, did he wait until there was an area where there was less people around? Yeah, he did. And the fact that he tries to reload his gun and get the magazine in the back, I don't give a shit about that. You can even see that in my page. People are like, now what'd he do? He held the gun way up there by the car door, right? Whatever. We can sit and make fun of that. Long story short, he did some shit that most people don't, right? And he got the job done, and he, stopped the bad guys. So me personally, everybody in the law enforcement world can say I'm full of shit, and that's fine. But when you're chasing known killers, I think the rules change. And that's where people can say...
And the options change.
Well, they do. And, like I said, but even if you
want
to say...
we're asking people to do things that...
Yeah, I mean, even
cops are already put in a position where they have to react to a situation.
Sure.
Like you said, you can't just let them go, right?
Well, no, people want you to let them go. Remember? Read the Cedar Rapids Gazette, and I'm not throwing the Gazette or KCR. Read about any high-speed chase in Cedar Rapids. Read about the pickup truck that ran into the school bus on First Avenue. Go back and find that 1.5-year-old article and read everybody that says, I blame the Sierra PD for chasing this guy. Which way do you want it? Are we going to pursue people, or are we going to stand outside the school and then get sued later for not doing anything? You can't have it both ways, America. And so literally all I'm saying is, for the love of all those cops out there, God bless you, have it one way or the other. Say, hey, we expect you to be cowboys and go do cowboy shit, or we expect you just to sit around and watch bad things happen and let the world burn, but we promise nobody's allowed to sue you. So let them have it one way or the other. Fair enough? I mean, they can't. America doesn't get to have it both ways, man.
Yeah,
and like when I saw that, even some well-respected people when saying, oh, he should have never done this. Do you go read off all your friends' names down there, even some from the, I think there's even one officer, and somebody go correct me if I'm wrong. Mostly it's the Broward County Sheriff's Department, but I think there's even Coral Springs cops listed in that, saying that they did not do enough, right? They're suing them for not doing enough. And they're also now suing the school system and the board for not doing enough about Nicholas Cruz ahead of time, right? So it's this whole idea, we're going to sue everybody to make this better. Is anything going to fix Parkland at this point, Mike?
No.
No. No amount of money, no nothing. And everybody can say that's easy. It's not your kid. It's not this, not that. A lot of the lawsuits are from people that aren't even injured, right? I mean, as in, and if they say when they injured, they're still alive, or there's people that were uninjured part of that lawsuit. All I'm saying is, as a country, we can't keep saying to cops, you have to go do shit or it's your fault. You need to save us or it's your fault. But by the way, don't go do stuff like that guy and shoot people through a windshield. And that whole shooting through a windshield's not new, is it? I mean, that's actually happened a lot.
That's probably what caught me off guard as a layman, is that I had never seen anything like that before.
It isn't
so
rare.
I assume that, like what Shane said, which is, I thought that the trajectory of the bullets and things like that are really affected by anything that they pass through.
And factually, they are.
But
So the first round will.
But the first round
But once he makes a hole,
Yeah.
right, then you're, I can say good, but
Sure.
it's normal trajectory.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you watch the video, when I was watching the video, I saw, like, you're saying the first round that hits the windshield. There is, I'm not expecting there to be
because
one
of the
hole.
curvature of
There
the
was a
windshield,
bunch
it's
of different
probably going
individual
and
holes.
depending on where it hit, it either is going to deflect up or deflect down.
Sure,
right?
absolutely. And the
I
only
think
thing
he was
gonna
going with volume of fire theory.
Yeah. And the only thing I was going to bring up about that video was not necessarily is he right, is he wrong. It was the fact that here we have a trained officer who's reacting to something, and your adrenaline is going, and emotion.
And how
and
trained, we don't know. I'm not being a dick, but
Right.
Cops don't have all the training people think they do.
But even somebody who we expect to have that training,
Yes.
still fumbled a bit with. I'm not making fun of him with the magazine change.
Right.
Well, hell yeah.
Right? So if you take that into account,
He drove
here's
a car. He drove a car with
he
his
drove
knees
a
while
car.
shooting a gun.
Right. I understand.
Right when people say they're not impressed with that, who has not eaten their McDonald's sandwich that way? Whatever. This dude shot a gun that way.
That's true.
When I saw him fumble with that clip, I was like, I didn't even think, when I saw that, I didn't even think twice
Gun
about
people's
it.
heads exploded
It
because
is-
they
They just
clip.
did.
Clip. It's the magazine,
Yeah.
goddammit.
Stress
Snowflake.
God, you say
does
clip one more
crazy
time.
shit to you.
Right.
Yeah.
You can be as honed as you want to be
Yeah.
in anything, and you're under the. I mean, that guy. They were still driving, and they could have easily backed in and killed him. To think that he should have every single little precise thing down. This is a human being we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It is not some kind of robot, which
Nope.
you don't want to have robots
But
doing
what
that
I'm
shit.
trying to emphasize here is the repetition of training. Even somebody who
Yeah.
I would assume
Yeah.
would have a decent level of training.
Reportedly,
more,
I think he was a sergeant. I think he was. So he'd been on.
He's a veteran
Okay.
cop.
Right,
That's
yes.
what I thought.
yeah,
I had heard.
way more training than the average person who might own a gun but never goes to the range, right?
Me.
So if you are expecting yourself to be able to react well in an extremely high stress situation and not fumble around and not make a mistake with your magazine, look at the video.
How
Look
about
at this guy who has had experience.
It's a media
who's doing
thing.
some.
It's a movie thing. We see.
I'm just trying to emphasize
we see the Rock drop a clip and lock a clip in. I have no idea what I'm talking
Say
about.
clip one more time.
Whatever.
It's like Beetlejuice. He's going to show up. Say clip one more time.
You watch them do these things in movies, and you think that's how reality is.
Well, the reality is that while being shot at, while already engaged in a rolling gun battle, whether people want to agree he should have, he was already in a rolling. Is if you go and watch how long it takes him to do a reload. He actually did it pretty fast, considering he recognized the fact his magazine was in backwards and it wasn't working, and he fixed it, and he still in there.
Yeah.
And got out of the car and got more hits and ended the gunfight.
Yeah, he killed the driver. It's
pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was. Again,
I'd buy him a beer.
I'm the liberal guy, right?
Yeah,
and I thought that, like, I was surprised that he shot through the windshield. I didn't think that was a normal thing, and I doubt it is. But then I thought, well, geez, he kind of held himself together and he stopped somebody who was actively shooting in a public street. I was just kind of like going, okay, I don't see what the controversy is.
Yeah. I'm okay with every single person in the world that wants to criticize him and say he shouldn't do it, as long as they're never the people that ever said we're going to sue cops for not acting. And as long as they've never done anything like drunk drive or anything like that in their whole life, then they can sit around and judge that dude.
They've made no mistakes.
Made no mistakes. They've
What's
never
that
ever
old saying, Ernie? Don't throw stones.
So if you live in a big-ass glass house with Billy Joel, hell yeah, man. That's right. That's what that saying is. Gotta have Billy Joel. Don't you remember the album cover?
No.
No one knows what I'm talking about.
Yes,
album covers
absolutely.
again?
You do know?
I totally agree. Yes,
You didn't
I totally
do so
know what you're
hot
talking
on the
about.
last album cover.
Sorry.
Oh, the live,
session.
thinking it was live and who it was.
Right.
What was it? What's the name of the group?
I don't remember.
Rob Pincus is going to have to call in and say, dudes, I told you.
What is it, Ernie?
No, I don't know. I don't. He's the one that knew it. Ask him. Hey, did we cover all our stuff?
No,
oh, wait.
we got two more
Fine.
subjects.
I have upcoming classes. We're definitely not even talking about them. It's like we don't even want people to come to class anymore.
I want to I'm going to piggyback off what I said.
Let's
earlier,
have a charity,
which is
where we pick a charity. You write the check to that charity, and you get to come train with Simon at his first gun class.
Oh, the snowflake class.
Yeah,
I already like
why
it.
not?
Is the duck race done? That was over.
Duck race is done.
The
We
duck
didn't
race
win the
is
10 grand.
No.
Yeah, I don't think. Or is it? Yeah, it's over, right? Or is it in
it's
August?
over. I don't know.
Sure?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Have Emily Bloom call us up. She's never talking to us again because we dropped the F-bomb 6 times in one show. But remember her
it was
hashtag?
my fault. Just say it's my fault.
Her hashtag was the best.
Her.
Well, we didn't put it on there.
You know what?
Hashtag.
You might want to be a little bit more careful about how you slur your words together.
Hashtag?
Because her hashtag. Her hashtag.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but I mean, that was a good story, right? She told
It
a
was,
good
it
story.
was a really good story, and it was, you know what?
It was
educational.
Educational and applicable.
And
repeatable.
Probably, and repeatable. Just
Measurable.
Just not right now.
Viewable.
Just not right now.
That makes it empirical data. I mean, if we can see it, report it, measure it, reproduce it, never mind.
Never mind.
I can't
What were you going to say,
reproduce.
Simon? You going to say
I
something?
was going to just piggyback what I said earlier, which is this being your last podcast for a bit.
Yeah. Maybe ever.
I really appreciate you changing my perspective on things. I appreciate you guys being open and honest and questioning things. And when I brought up different points of view or I questioned something, you being very clear and honest about not knowing an answer necessarily, and also trying to see it from my point of view. Mm-hmm. And so from CVO's lifetime on this podcast, it's really changed my point of view about things.
One dude.
My point is that the snowflake liberal guy, his point of view has changed.
That's cool.
And so I'm one guy, and I guarantee you it's a lot more than just me. And I think that it's made a big impact on how people perceive gun owners and how people perceive the gun world.
Well, I think Mike's got some running friends that aren't gun guys that didn't you say like one of them listened and said, hey, that's pretty good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we started this off, or Ernie started this off and asked me to be on it, and it's a fun thing, right? It's a fun thing, and sometimes he jokes that we don't get anything out of this, but I really agree with you.
We don't actually get anything.
We do. You know what we get out of it?
I
We're making the world better, dude.
We made one snowflake.
We're making the
happy.
world better, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
tourniquets alone.
Right?
I mean, oh my gosh,
You can't
yes.
tourniquet a taint.
you
No,
can't.
there's no
You
taint.
cannot
Right?
tourniquet a
I
taint.
Do it.
learned that. I
See?
learned that.
Taint going there.
Lesson 1.
Yeah. Ain't that taint. We're going to make that a country
I
song.
love the idea that we keep trying to be
Ain't
like,
no
we love you.
turkey.
This is
I know,
awesome.
I know,
And
it's
they
a-
keep talking about taints.
I know.
Yeah.
It happens.
I'm just talking about the things that I've learned on this podcast, and that's there was somebody who actually just got stabbed in the taint.
Yeah.
What else did
And
you learn?
You can't tourniquet that.
Like
taint.
if you're going to in self-defense land, right? If you're not a Kali friggin' Filipino knife master, where are you going
Right.
to target? You're going to target the face, and
Yeah.
you're going to target the fork. All right? Because you
Face and the
can't
fork.
tourniquet a taint.
Yeah.
Can't tourniquet the
I
taint.
told
Remember?
I told my kids,
Go
when
for
they
the fork and face.
put your thumb in their eye and kick them in the balls. I always told my kids,
Yep.
eyeballs, balls.
Right?
Done.
Easy.
Easy.
You got anything you want to add to
Easily
this,
done.
Eric?
You know what? You
we
just
said-
assume that every bad person's a dude. You're part of that group out there. That's
Eyeball
a war
vagina.
on
I don't
men.
care. Like, what's the diff?
Yeah.
You're part of that group.
If
It
you don't
hurts.
know the difference,
It'll all hurt.
if you don't know the difference between an eyeball and a vagina.
No, I'm just saying it all hurt.
right.
It'll all hurt,
So,
Ernie. That's all I'm saying.
so do we get something out of this? Yes, we try to help the world, Mike. I agree with you there. Financially, is it a smart decision? No. Can we get Eric to learn how to do everything Shane did? I don't know.
He could
But
probably.
we'll
He's
try.
going to do it a lot better.
No, he's not
He's
going to do
gonna
it better,
do it
but he's
better.
going to do it good enough. And he's going to do it in my store where I get to smoke.
Oh.
Are you still
Are you going to
smoking?
invite me to your podcast? Can I go to your? Can I?
You
go to your
guys,
podcast?
you guys are going to come on. He's like 3 blocks away. Every time he brings, what are we going to have? What did I call it?
Quiche.
Quiche?
No.
What?
Coffee, quiche, and conversations.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing that. Coffee, quiche, and conversations. So at least once a month, we're going to have, it's going to be open to the public, and we're going to come in and do our podcast while we eat quiche from Wits End. And like, literally, there'll be conversations taking place, and we'll do the podcast at the same time.
And I'll make you coffee. I'll bring coffee in
Yeah,
for that, for sure.
We're going to do it.
I'd
Coffee,
love to. I'd love
conversations, and
to.
quiche. Yeah. And say clip one more time before the show's over.
Clippity clip clip
I
clip.
can't have a hard time finding the clip. What else do we want to talk about?
It is such.
I don't want to be a douchebag. I'm just saying when I was
A lot of
am
people
I
in
doing
reality,
wrong terms?
Yeah.
Am I doing things incorrectly?
In reality, the people that worry about that stuff are the ones that are the douchebags.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who friggin' cares?
Hey, I would have
right?
10 years
Okay.
ago. I would have pointed that out. 5 years ago, I would have
Right.
pointed that
And now
out.
you're
I
no
was
longer,
a douche.
You're not that way.
I'm not. I'm no longer.
I was a douche.
You know what? You're self-aware. So I
Technically.
appreciate that.
Technically. All right. So what else do you want to talk about before we
So-
sign up? We got to talk about a couple other things.
So we were going to talk about.
How life has changed.
Well, it depends. You want to talk about a couple subjects, or
No,
you,
you
kinda
go.
Just,
You tell me. No, I'm gonna say some thank yous
so
to
there's
certain people.
so there was one more article I wanted to talk about, which is the kind of traveling preacher style of firearms education
Oh, okay.
versus the slow drip. So
when
you're
he
talking about
wrote
the
the
fire
article
hose,
and he
correct?
said traveling preacher, who was he talking about?
you know the olden days when the preacher would just come in and have the
No,
tent
okay, but
revival.
Who's he referring to these days?
National level trainers or any
Sure.
regional level trainer.
Is he
or-
talking about Pincus?
I don't think he's talking about anybody in particular because I don't even think he knows who Pincus is. He's talking about we're going to go to an 8-hour class and we're going to drink from the fire hose and how much we're really retaining versus we're going to learn a little bit here and then come reinforce it next week and then have ongoing training.
Sure.
So which is the better model?
Who wrote the article, by the way?
Rob Morse.
Rob Morse.
All right.
Rob Morse.
And the only reason I know that's because I was just staring
Yep.
at it.
Yeah.
So I just found that article
It's actually a great article.
perusing through some other stuff.
It's a great article, and I agree with everything. Literally. So on one hand, I agree with everything he says. Hey, you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelming some people, trying to throw all this information at them in one day. You know, like he says, I can only give you so many drinks of this information, right? You can't drink more than that. So the problem with it is, it's easier to get people to dedicate one day. Truly is, than to get them to come back to a 2-hour class 2 times a month.
And
Now,
we
there's
and
other
we found that to be
and
true.
and there's other people though that are actually begging to have those 2-hour once a month tune-up classes. Anthony Wittenbaugh, some other people that would do it, and we're going to do that. We keep saying we're going to do it. I'm really going to do it. So they are out there, but I would say Rob Morse, he's absolutely right. Other than, and dare I say, you don't run a store like CVO. Trying to get people to dedicate, especially on a regular basis. Like for some people, you might be like, I like Wednesday Jiu-Jitsu. I'm always going to be there no matter what. Other people are like, not every Wednesday works for me. You know, it might be here or there. It's hard to get people in general to dedicate time to this kind of training. True.
True.
But even once you say, hey, I have this core group of, let's say, call it CFS, IDS people, whatever. You take all the people that have been through ICE classes that I know in this area and say, how about if you've gone to any of the classes, you up command, you remember the numbers command, we can do a short safety brief at the beginning every time. We're going to dive right into some drills, right? I got like 20 people that would want to do that, at least. But it'll be hard to get them to agree on what time works for them.
Yeah.
So now you have to get to where, okay, I have a Thursday night class and I have a Wednesday night class this week, and it's on Tuesdays, the third week of the month. It still takes a lot of coordination.
But logistics aside, is it better?
Oh, like to learn 2 hours?
If somebody's going to take one class a year to get that 8-hour drink from a fire hose, or encourage people to get a little bit at a time?
Take the drip, man. Take the drip. Yeah. Not that kind of drip. No. Take penicillin for that. But take the actual learning. Take the 2 hour, like you said, it'd be great to say, here's your lesson plan. Go home and practice it. Come back, and what are we going to do? We're actually going to practice that in context and test you a little bit on it, right? And then go learn this, go learn this. That's great. If people will make those multiple trips to come back for multiple, just like 2 hour basic pistol. Was it a hit? Yep, turns out it's a hit. Will they come back 2 hours on a Saturday for the next level and the next level and the next level and really call it like the next lesson, not level? I absolutely agree with it's better to get somebody to show up 4 times for 2 hours than 1 8-hour class. Absolutely. But was 1 8-hour class enough for you to learn from, to go home and say, I want to do this and I'm going to practice this and I'm going to follow through on it?
I mean, obviously there's some benefit, right? But I think, and Simon, jump in here, being an educator, right? Like, you don't know what everybody's coming away with. So it's very inconsistent. But if you have the kind of the segmented model, you can kind of control the lesson plan, and you can hopefully build some understanding a little bit more consistently, if that makes sense.
Well, consistency is the name of the game. That's all it is. As a behavior specialist, that's all I ever did, was provide consistency and structure for a kid. So I would say that consistency is the name of the game. And so that's what I was just thinking, is like, I wrote down the 2 hour class, the basic handgun class. If I did that once every 6 months or once every year, like getting my teeth cleaned, for lack of a better example, that would be consistent for me. So at least I had the basic skills down. Even if I didn't own a gun, at least every 6 months, every year, I was getting some familiarity with things and getting an upkeep on my knowledge.
Sure.
Yeah, and side point,
I
would encourage people to go to a class like that, even if you don't own a firearm, because in this day and age, active shooter training, you may at some point recover a firearm, right? And to be familiar with how to use it to defend yourself if you happen to recover one, and be familiar how to use it so you know how to defeat it. So we know it causes malfunctions. We can cause malfunctions in the bad guy's weapon.
Right.
That's going to give you a little bit more, empower you a little bit more.
Yeah,
right?
and Dobbs, again, when he said that, I think he said it was an active shooter in Puerto Rico in a school, and the teachers just unleashed the kids, like, run for your lives, and they just flooded the hallways with kids running everywhere. This shooter could not get a bead on anybody, and he didn't kill anybody. And he was an active shooter in the school with hallways full of kids. And so when I started realizing that an active shooter in a school is not some Navy SEAL trained person walking through hallways and picking people off. They have no idea what's going on.
Some of them read the owner's manual in their car in the parking lot.
Right. I use that example in my class. There's it wasn't a school, but he attacked a party, a house party.
He was the house party shooter?
Yeah, he attacked a house party. Didn't even know how to use the firearm. Like, he literally sat in his car outside this house and read the owner's manual, like how to load it.
There you
go.
So
the myth that these guys are like some Navy SEAL team guy that knows what he's doing it's a myth.
Well, and I think sometimes they actually show videos of a guy walking into a lobby of a business, and he drops a duffel bag, and he pulls out a shotgun and just starts cocking it and shooting people.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's not reality. Yeah, that's not reality. So when they started saying that you could do things like throw your keys at them, because they're a human being who, like, what the fuck's coming at me? Yeah. And all of a sudden it changes everything. It made the Georgia Tech shooting more realistic. They could have done things to change that, because they just were always looking at things in this vein of this active shooter is this professionally trained, knows exactly what they're doing and picking beads out and doing what they're doing, that is not the reality. And that helped me a lot understand going, okay, so about anything that I can do, whether it's throw a stapler at somebody, could help out what's happening or save a life, possibly.
Would it just, so I'm going to throw you some statistics out, right? So 67, I think it's 67, so I said I was going to throw statistics and now I forgot one, but 83% of those active shooters, 160 active shooter situations in that study were stopped by some use of force. Police, armed security, whatever, right? 83%. 13%, 21 out of 160 were stopped by unarmed civilians. That's 13% of these guys were stopped by people that didn't have guns or arguably no special training or anything. They were throwing keys or they were doing whatever, right?
Right.
So that's a pretty good percentage.
Well, I mean, to me, what it says is anything. The opposite of what, and I could be wrong, this is my opinion, the opposite of what I think is being taught is what you should do. So what I feel like what is being taught is everyone go to a corner, stay right there, and don't try anything.
Yeah.
Don't try anything. Because I don't know if it's because, well, I don't want to ask a kid in a high school to be a hero because I don't want to be liable. I don't want to be asking the teachers to be doing this because that's me telling them they have to put themselves in danger. But why can't, if you don't throw out the idea of using a fire extinguisher to distract, anything to distract, then what you're taking away, you're not advertising a huge thing.
He has swim lessons. Not he personally.
Well, I mean, a good example would be when we were doing the very first Alice training I ever did. The last part of it is you can fight back. And so we're in a room, and myself and a friend of mine, two bigger, stronger guys, we're all in a room with a bunch of teachers, and all the other teachers had tennis balls that were supposed to symbolize keys, staplers, whatever. And then they said, hey, when this guy comes in, you can do whatever you need to do to get him down. And so me and my buddy were like, we're going to fucking hit this guy as hard as we can physically and take him down. And I remember when he walked in the door, all I could think about was I'm going to hit him as hard as I possibly can, like a football tackle. And I knew my friend was coming from the other side doing the same thing. But what happened was every single teacher in that room threw a tennis ball at him. And I realized that we didn't even have to tackle this guy, that he was already like reacting of like, there's like 100 tennis balls coming at me. I can't even focus. And so when we tackled him, that was the easiest part of it. He was so distracted and so caught off guard, but all these things coming at him, and he was walking in prepared doing Alice training. Mm-hmm. It made me realize that we have a misperception about how these things are taking place and what we can do to affect it or change it, so to speak.
Like get rid of the saying the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, because really it could just be a good guy could stop him.
The only thing that stops a
Are
bad
you
guy
calling
is
me
a
a good guy? Am I a good guy?
Yeah.
Thanks. Ernie.
You're the good guy.
That. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Anything else you want to touch?
No, we're
before
good.
we all go home?
We're good.
So let's see. We have to thank everybody for watching. No, see that? Like Shane's like, you got to go through these things. So yes, for the last 2 years, started way back with Jesse Lennox and these guys and Mike. Thanks for playing along. If we figure out, I'm not trying to be a drama queen. I've told you guys all before. If we figure out how to keep going, maybe be audio version only. We'll see if we can figure it out. Shane's going to try to help our friend Eric figure out if we could do that. We don't know, so we don't have any scheduled things for you. We'll try to keep you updated. Thank you for all the good questions over the years. Thank you guys for chiming in. Thank you for pointing out, hey, this so-and-so has a good question. You should answer this. Thank you for being our liberal friend. Thank you for being smart enough to close TPS Media and go spend time with your families, because that makes you guys good parents. And it's true. So I admire you guys for doing that. We'll prioritize our lives, and Mike will rescue 4 more dogs and take 2 more jobs, and we'll see what we can get done. I might be busy doing something else too. We'll see. I got some things on the burner. But anyway, in the past, thank you very much for all the good questions. Thank you for all the comments. Even if you didn't agree with us, you didn't like us, it was cool that you played along. I don't know when we'll be back, but the most important thing I could tell you, watch out for the goddamn red Chevy truck. Hate those red Chevy trucks. See ya.
Peace out.